a sacrifice seduced for the altar of your vanity. A jealous, hungry God, craving praises of profanity. With bedroom dark and dine, and a deep mouth stained with wine, it drinks its fill. It was your mothers, not your brothers, that agreed to feed you poison. This egregious lack of choice indeed seemed fit to join your voice in, with lies disguised as prizes of reason and wisdom, with briberies of finery to weaken any criticism. Can the fly invade the blossom that devours it? A mouth that lies in wait for a gift of life to shower it.
Alright, welcome back. It's session 113. Before we jump in, I'd like to just talk a little bit about the events that's happened during the time skip. For us, it's about 75 BC, and there's been some earth-shattering things happening in Rome. It's been 300 plus years since an enemy set foot in Rome, since an army attacked Rome. Even at the height of the Punic campaigns, when Hannibal was rampaging through, he never did more than allegedly lay eyes on the walls. And even that might have been just a tale to excite the war effort. But in the past, in the 90s, less than 20 years ago, the same man attacked Rome twice. Sulla marched on the gates, attacked Rome, drove out Gaius Marius and his allies. Then Gaius Marius attacked Rome, razed Ostia to the ground. He managed to throw out Sulla's political appointment, so he attacked the power of the Senate and the power of the consuls, using the power of the tribunate, prompting Sulla to march back and attack Rome again and take over. Sulla has stripped a great deal of power from the people of Rome, from the tribunate and the tribune council, the council of plebeians. And I just kind of wondering what you guys' thoughts are on that as characters. If you've given any thought to it at all beyond simply surviving the day-to-day trials and tribulations.
Alpna, has deeply disconnected herself from her humanity and from her mortal roots, she does see this as being the decrease of power of the masses as a beneficial act. She does see she has a very aristocratic view of how of society. So, while she's mostly indifferent to the human happenings and going on, she does believe that this is the course that's going to set Rome to greatest glories. The fact that Sulla happens to be connected to Hatshepsut only makes this better, as an increase of power to Sulla could be to increase the power to their cutlery.
How about you, Labiana? That's the massive upheaval, let's say, in Rome. The purges, the prescriptions, the fact that they are stripping entire families of their power and positions and kicking them out on the streets, taking their homes, is assuredly going to lead to a great deal more death on the streets. How does Lapiana feel about that, especially given her found path in analyzing and simply observing?
Mm. Well, obviously, one thing that most people would notice is that in terms of the humanity of it all, Labiena will barely bat an eyelid to that, like she probably once would have um, earlier in her own life, but instead has chosen to see it as an opportunity to immerse herself in her studies, because now she has way more test subjects to satisfy her curiosities, as it were. So she'll hope to learn a lot more during this phase than ever before.
And of course, with all the wars and stuff, especially with Sulla having looted Athens, he brought a significant amount of money back to Rome, and the building projects have continued apace as well, with a little brief interruption. But in order to be seen as a good steward of Rome, he has given us a huge amount of money for building projects, which has been extremely beneficial to you and your mentor, as the alliances you've made are dependent on perhaps siphoning building materials and making foundations and digging into the actual bedrock of Rome. So your living quarters have benefited greatly by the bargains that have been made.
Indeed.
And Astartes, in your quest to regain what it is that makes you understand humanity, and that brings you back from a monster to a man. How do you react to all of this? What are your thoughts?
Seeing all those families on the street pains him. He's starting to feel a little bit of that spark of humanity. He's going on the motions right now, trying to remind himself that he has to take care of these people, to try to get in the habit, see if it will become instinctual to him again. But it pains them to an extent to see all those people without a home. So he will try to see what he can do to lessen their troubles a little bit.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not like you can just afford to buy property and grant people houses. It's more spiritual of what comfort you can offer than material.
You have to. He's trying to start small, see if he can find a way to something bigger. Maybe a better idea will come to him along the way.
Now, with that thought in mind, that raises another question. How do you feel now about the cult of Albina and Hatshepsut and Labiena? How does that? What does the Stardust think about that?
Stardust really has not interacted with the occult on a regular basis, so he really does not know the ins and outs of the cult. He knows that Albina is a monster and Lapiana is also a monster, but he hasn't really taken the time to study the cult, and see what their living condition is and stuff like that. I believe that is something that he's gonna start paying more attention to, see if he can form his own judgment on the cult before he acts in any way.
Now, something that's recently you've kind of noticed is that Albina has been spending more time than you might be comfortable with Ihamus Eushopsis, the follower of Set, who's quite prominent in the Roman Canaanite politics. What do you think about that, if anything?
Nothing good can come out of that. So he's usually wary of satellites. So he's gonna see if he can steer Albina away from Ahamis, because it will only lead to her ruin in his mind.
For the record, you have an open invitation to visit Ihamus, Astartes. Uh, Now, something that Labiana and Albina have noticed is that Astartes is seems a little different. Um, he's been spending quite a bit of time with the faction of Cainites led by Julia Antasia, the champion of humanity in Rome. What do you guys think of that? How does that make you feel, or how does it make you view Astartes?
That raises a few eyebrows. That raises like Albina's eyebrows. And she remembers her conversation with Artus after the death of his sister, having seemed to be steering him on a path away from humanity. So to see him speaking with Anastasia comes as a surprise and a shock to her. She'll like be trying to learn about what brought about this change of heart of his. What made him go from socializing with the likes of, well, herself and Akonia to Anastasia.
Well, to be honest, I don't think Labiena really knows what to think about that.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's you've got other things on your mind. You've had a journey a few years ago, um, and you have your own demons to slay that have come from that. Metaphorical, of course.
Indeed.
And Astartes himself has also recently returned from a visit from which he was gone for about a year from the city. So, with that in mind, we're going to get started. It is from our game notes. You guys know that the Albina scored you guys quite a coup by getting an invitation to a rare and massive party that's going to be spanning several nights at Pompeii, being hosted and put on by Helena, who, as you may remember, at one point in time held the domain of Crete, and additionally was granted the fiefdom of Pompeii for her help in giving up a bunch of knowledge and her efforts in the sacking and destruction of Carthage, as she had taken up refuge there after she was driven from Crete. So, Albina scoring you guys who probably aren't really are gonna kind of stick out as being not very socialite characters, is quite an opportunity. So you know it's a few weeks away, and you need to prep for it, and that means everything. Your patron Alexander has provided you some leads on entertainment. He's provided you a significant amount of money. We're going to say between him and you guys have 100 gold coins to spend. And to put that in perspective, that's 4,000 pieces, or 4,000 sesteri. And to buy an apartment building, an entire apartment building housing 600 people in Rome, costs 30,000. So about a little between 1/5 and 1/6 the cost of an entire apartment building in Rome is now in your hands. So you wake up this evening, fully intending on seeing to some of the business that you need to see to. And when you ascend the steps to the chamber proper, Albina especially, the some of the cult members run up to you and start blabbering at you very quickly. Mistress, something terrible has happened. Our Agrippa was stabbed. She was attacked. And you look over and you see somebody is laying on one of the benches. She's been bandaged and seen to by a surgeon, but it's not great. It's certainly a far cry from the days of when you had a Gregorius at your beck and call.
Abner approaches the wounded woman, tracing on her fingers along her injuries. Would she be able to make out, have an idea of what kind of stab is it like? Is it a trained stab or is it the
It's
angry?
a roll your intelligence plus medicine at difficulty 4, or intelligence plus melee at difficulty 6. Uh,
Yeah,
you notice
0.
two. There are two cuts on her back. One is a slice and one is a stab. But because of the bandages and the poultices on her, it's pretty tough to make out anything useful.
Did any of you sound the attacker?
They said, "Well, mistress, we were out shopping for some cloth, like you asked, and you see a basket of some fine cloth to be made into clothing. When Agrippa here was attacked, this has happened a couple of times. We thought it was a coincidence, but over the past couple of weeks, we found slashes in our clothing and stuff as we went out. But this is the first time it really got serious, and we were out in the marketplace, and all we saw was she just kind of fell down and yelled in pain, and we didn't really see who did it. But it might have been a lady, we think."
Is Agrippa conscious?
Yes. She's not doing well though. She's in serious pain. And she's just kind of like moaning and trying to be quiet to not disturb you.
Abner looks over. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's right. I was going to say that Labiena's probably going to be sort of standing, not noticeably looking at her, but making mental observations about her current state. Seeing what she can learn while she's still alive. Probably thinking that she's probably not going to make it.
Abner steps away from the girl, looks over to Labiana. Sister Labiana, would you be so kind as to watch over Agrippina? I will prepare some remedies for her.
Of course, Albina. Happy to.
She steps aside for a moment, heading downstairs, grabbing some jugs along the way, some wine, some drinks. And when she's downstairs, she's going to cut herself and breathe into the drinks.
Okay. You put a blood point into the clay jug of wine and shake it up real well.
She returned to the wounded woman.
Yeah, she looks up at you. She's sweating. Yeah, if you've ever been in serious pain and you're just trying not to move, and that's what she's doing. She's trying not to move too much because it hurts, and it's like the actual effort of not moving is making her sweat.
She's going to place her cold hand on her forehead, wiping away her sweat
The yeah, sweat turns to ice on your skin.
before she sits down and gently move her onto her lap, bringing the jug in front of her face. This is the milk of the goddess. Drink it, and if you are faithful, you'll be healed.
All right, let's see if she can keep it down. She does. She drinks it all, and she kind of like she doesn't understand what's happening to her as she drinks it. And then she kind of sits up, and everybody looks at her like, "Whoa!" As her body instinctively uses what you've just done to her to help heal the worst of the stab wound. And everyone kind of looks at you in awe as you reinforce the fact that you are avatars of gods.
She traces her hand around the old injuries. Tell me, Agrippa, who did this to you? Your sisters say that this has been happening for some time.
We were out at the market, and for the past couple of weeks, we found some cuts and things in our clothing which we thought were, your standard pickpockets trying to get at our money. But I was dickering with one of the merchants, trying to argue down some embroidery thread, and I felt a searing pain in my kidney. And she touches her back, and you realize that the person who stabbed her had hit her right in that kidney shot. I felt a searing pain right back here, and I felt a hand tug at the back of my neck. And I turned, and as I fell, and let's see how much she saw. As I fell, I caught a glimpse of dark curly hair and a feminine jaw and a pair of small breasts.
Does that ring any bells for Abner?
It describes a lot, but it does narrow the field down by at least 60%.
I see. You want to stay here, child. Do not leave the safety of the sanctum. Not until this the one behind this has been caught and dealt with. Your sisters will provide for you for as long as you are here. Won't you? She looks over to the other girls.
Oh, they all nod vigorously.
Now, where exactly in the market did this occur? Can you tell me? Can you describe the place?
They describe in detail, including giving you the name of the person and which corner they usually are found on. It's one of the standard forums in Rome that mostly deals in textiles and thread.
She nods, looks over to Laviana. Sister Laviana, would you like to add anything?
Certainly. she'll have to punish these people who dare threaten our flock. In a sense, Labiana kind of sees them as her flock because she does need the cult members to be alive, so that the only reason she needs them alive is so she can feed from them.
Yeah, that's why you guys have them in the first place. It makes your life comfortable. They look upon you, and you have said just the right thing to know that they know you're going to protect them, and you're going to put a stop to this. So you guys head out.
Yeah, Alpina's idea is to investigate the area that they described.
You
Seeing
guys
about
are of course at full blood -1. So yeah, you head out into the streets of Rome. All right. The night is clear. It's very calm. You wend your way through the streets. Nobody bothers you. In fact, it seems like it's pretty quiet outside, but not bad quiet. Just quiet. Like people are kind of conserving their strength for the upcoming festival in a few weeks, whichever one it may be. Nice, clear, calm. You wend your way through to the Forum of Cloth.
are the stalls still open at this hour?
A few of them. Mostly the ones that sell kind of low grade stuff for people who don't have a lot of cash, or the cloth that fell off the back of a wagon and is now for sale. Hint, hint, wink, wink. That kind of stuff. So the particular vendor they described is not open. The stall is closed up, and the overhang has been rolled up and stored, and it is quiet there.
As she walks over to the area and she looks around, she looks over to Labiana. Labiana, your senses are better than mine. Are you able to locate any blood? The girl got stabbed in the kidney. Perhaps you might be able to sense the smell.
Well, out of character, does Labiana remember anything being said about where the lady was standing when she was stabbed?
It's right there. You could just kind of put yourself in their shoes and realize you could narrow it down to a spot 10 or 15 foot square in front of the stall. So it's not a big area to search.
Yeah. So she'll kind of just move to that spot and turn to Albina and say, I'll see what I can find out. And at this point, she'll try and enhance her senses of her sense of smell. See if she can pick up anything.
Yeah, you pick up a lot. Mostly mud and sweat of hundreds and hundreds of feet that have stomped past here, and the smell of food and wine drifting through the air.
You might try and move around a bit as well and see if she can pick up any noticeable blood smells as she goes.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's really not a lot of noticeable blood. It's been several hours, and there's been a lot of foot traffic through here.
Okay. don't know if this will work. She might even try just reaching down, putting her hand on the floor and seeing if Spirit's touch might be able to tell her anything.
Okay, that's a pretty good idea. Roll your spirit touch roll. This is going to be difficulty 9 because it's not really something the stones are going to remember, but the pain might have transferred,
See if
perhaps.
she can sense any kind of small thing.
Yep.
Uh, You might even use a. Why is my brain not working?
Willpower?
Yeah. She'll use her willpower on that one.
Okay, go for it. All right. That's one success. You get on your hands and knees. You're feeling the cobbles under your feet and tracing out the cracks. And you're staring at the ground, really getting down in there, putting your nose in it, occasionally reaching out to touch it with your tongue. Just really getting in there. And you find the exact spot she was standing as you have a flash of pain in your back. And for just a second, you see through her eyes as you fall to the ground. Make a intelligence plus wits roll. Your intelligence and wits rating. Difficulty's 9. You can't spend a willpower here.
Wait. Sorry. Intelligence and wits?
Yes, intelligence and wits.
It's an interesting roll.
Yeah, I just can't think of any ability that would actually help there, so I just figured it's all mental.
Looks like I'm going to have to manually roll this one. Because unfortunately the sheet only allows you to put together a combination of ability and attribute. So, where's my character sheet? Yeah. D10. Standard diff?
9.
Oh, that's right, 9.
Yep. So just make the roll and then we'll add up the dice ourselves.
That's okay, I remember how to put the
I don't.
difficulty in. It didn't work anyway.
One success though.
It's like one success, yeah.
You would swear the hair is vaguely familiar. The hair and the jawline, something about it is vaguely familiar. But you can't put your finger on it. This definitely happened during the day, though, not at night.
Okay. I'm guessing she really didn't get an idea of where they might have fled, like what direction.
No.
Oh, okay.
You're not sure it would help you out anyways if you knew which direction they ran off.
Fair. So upon learning this, Labiena will stand up, kind of just not stretch out, but kind of readjust her clothes and turn to Albina. Well, I I can confirm that. I can confirm their story. They certainly were stabbed right in this spot. But I can't tell you much more than the information that they provided.
Astartes, make your a perception plus alertness roll at difficulty 5. Because you don't see a lot of people rooting around on the ground very often here. Excellent. You and your man are in the vicinity, taking care of some last minute shopping yourself, and you happen to see Albina and Labiena at a closed vendor with Albina with her butt in the air and her face on the ground, rooting around for something. Sorry, Labiena with her on her hands and knees, and Albina just kind of looking at her with amusement.
I walk up with a smile on my face. Lose anything, Labiana?
Oh, noticing the starters, she'll turn to him. Uh, you could say that. Fancy seeing you here.
Just taking care of some last minute shopping. But I have to say, that's a very unladylike position of you. What brings you down there?
You
Well,
have been hunting for a murderer, for attempted murder.
well, at this moment, a confirmed assailant of one of our members.
And how is she? Is she okay?
She will survive the night.
And he lets out a breath of relief. So, any luck in finding out who it was?
Nothing concrete yet. So hopefully we'll find more as time goes on. At the same time, I was going to say, at the same time, Labiena can be seen to almost be slightly distracted, kind of looking around to see if she might see if the person she saw a flash of might be may have come back or might be lingering or something like that. So she'd almost be looking distracted.
You guys need my help?
Another hunter would be appreciated to track down this prey.
Okay. I turn around and look at Ardashir. And I tell him to go back home with the cloths and prepare them for what we've discussed before. And I'll send him away.
And he just says, "Of course, master," and then he heads off to follow your instructions.
So, where do we begin?
From what we understand, the attack came during the day, so it's likely a mortal. A woman with curly black hair and small breasts.
We also understand that it is potentially linked to, how would we say, attacks on their clothing.
It's almost like they were working up the courage for this. It's like they're getting bolder and bolder. Like they made a few attempts, they were kind of half-hearted, and then we're just like, all right, we're really going for it this time.
Let's see what I can pick up. And I'm gonna use Spirit Touch on the floor.
Okay, that is the same roll at difficulty 9.
I'm gonna use one willpower.
Okay.
Let's hope you find more than I did.
Still cursed.
Alas, you detect nothing of significance. A few brief flashes of foot traffic, but nothing of significance.
Sorry, I cannot be of help at the moment, but this this people of your cult, did she have any enemies that she's aware of?
Not as far as I know. But that's a possibility. Although, from what I understand, she's not the only one that has been suffering similar attacks like these.
That changes everything. Then, did you guys do anything while I was away? Did you guys get any new enemies while I was away?
That we're aware of.
No, you guys are fairly apolitical. Um, so the prescriptions and the purges of Princeps Camillus haven't really affected you all that much. You perhaps have enjoyed the downfall of several people who have been quite annoying over the years, such as Valerianus, who has suffered quite greatly under the prescriptions. But personally, no, not really. You haven't. Your situation hasn't really changed. No new enemies or allies.
Something that we could do is see if perhaps um, there have been any other witnesses around here. The shop owner that they went to is closed, but perhaps the ones that are still open around here might have seen something during the day.
Yes.
There's a few around. Uh, Astardus, you just asked a good question. I don't know, Albina, or are you open to bringing Astardus with you to the?
Yeah,
Okay, then you know about it.
he's part of the coterie. She's inviting him to come along.
Here we go. Yep. So there are some vendors, like as I said, still open, hawking their wares. A cursory inspection of their clothing and stuff. Roll your. If anyone wants to go take a look at their stuff, can roll their perception plus investigation.
I'm gonna try it.
Right.
I do that as well. What was the roll again?
Perception plus investigation.
Investigation. Hold up.
Yeah. Uh,
Okay, I've got it
yeah.
done.
You guys, Albina, you notice this. Astardus, you definitely notice this, plus a little extra. The material is of variable quality. Some of it's really nice, and some of it's really, really shitty. Talking moth-eaten holes and poorly woven. The stuff that's really nice is very clean and looks like it might have just come into their possession, and it's priced a little more expensive than perhaps it should be. But that's what you get when you are rolling the dice on last second sales. So, and everything seems to be of a similar pattern. Thread, bolts of cloth, a few outfits. There's people still selling the standard tunic of Rome that pretty much everyone wears in various earthen colors. A few shoppers out.
Well, perhaps we could start by perhaps we could even uh, start asking some of the close by vendors whilst we're looking.
Okay, so you guys pick one, I assume.
Yes.
Okay. Guy, he is. As you approach him, he smiles. Oh yes, yes, please, please approach. Uh, are you interested? And he takes a look at what you guys are wearing, and he pulls out a midline stack of cloth. And here, I have very good deal for you. I have uh, brown. I have dark gray. I have some red here. Very expensive, very nice. Just picked this up today, this morning. I know a man who makes it. He's my brother-in-law. I'll give you a very good deal.
While I'm approaching, I'm going to use awe on
All
him.
right. Spend a blood. Roll your charisma plus performance, a diff 7 per the book. All right. He is definitely affected. You see it in his eyes. He kind of like, ooh, hey, okay. He definitely pays more attention to you than he does to Albina or Labiena.
I'd approach him and I ask him, where did you find this very, very fine piece of clothing?
I
It's not like the other ones you have.
got it from my
Yeah.
brother-in-law, as I said.
And is this the only one you have?
It's the
And
only
right,
one I have right now, but I can get more.
the feeling that I'm projecting right now is the feeling like of somebody you can trust, a trustworthy person.
Okay, yeah, and he says, yes, yes, I got it from my brother-in-law. He is uh, uh, employed with the cloth maker. Uh, Very rare to find piece this nice, especially this late at night. I cut you a good deal. You won't find anyone who sells cloth of this of this style and quality anywhere else up and down this street. I assure you that.
I look at Alvin and Laviana. Are you guys interested in this piece of cloth?
I suppose the red one will go well.
Then I look at the guys. Okay, then we're gonna take it. And another thing, I heard that there was an attack here during the day. Did you hear anything about it?
Oh no, I'm afraid not. Sadly, with all the state of Rome and the uh, poor men and women of varying factions fighting amongst each other. Uh, that man Sala, who's attempted to strip the power of the tribunes. Things are come to a dark, dark turn here in Rome. It's a dark, dark turn. One gold piece, please.
I give him the gold piece.
Okay. You guys have 99 pieces of gold, and he slides over the bolt of cloth. A very good pleasure doing business with you, sir. Very good pleasure. And he
I'm not.
makes the gold coin disappear. And if anybody has a shoot, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not finance, the trading skill.
Mercantile?
Yeah,
No,
mercantile. That
Commerce.
commerce. Thank you.
Commerce.
Yes.
That's the one.
If you have a commerce of 2 or greater, you know that he just well overpaid for that.
Sorry, no skill in commerce. Um,
I think, let's have a look.
But yeah, he makes that gold coin disappear right quick and in a hurry. And but he slides it over to you guys. You now have a bolt of dyed red cloth, which is actually quite nice.
Oh, Labian is none the wiser. But, she might, try her luck and, say, oh, did you happen to notice, I'm presuming it happened earlier that day,
Yeah.
and she's going to give what details she can of the person that was both described to her and from what she recounts from what she saw. Um, Lingering around, perhaps, acting suspiciously, um, maybe watching other potential customers.
I'm so sorry. I don't know anything. Uh, my younger brother mans the booth during the day. Uh, does quite a bit of talking and flirting with the women coming around.
Your younger brother, where is he at this moment?
Oh, he's probably out drunk. Probably out drunk and gambling.
Bring your younger brother to us. She's going to dominate him.
Okay. Anything, anything but a one is a success, or anything but a one or a two. So, roll your dominate, please. Difficulty 3, which is the minimum you can get. Um, with one success, he goes, "Okay, okay. Just let me close up first, real quick, and I'll go get him." And he immediately reaches up and begins to close the shutters and stuff, and locks the thing down as best as it can. Closes up, and begins to walk down the street.
Oh, I was going to say, before he leaves, Labiana will say, thank you very much for your assistance.
I follow him, and when I'm out of sight, I'm going to use Obfuscate 2 to become invisible and follow him all the way back, all the way, to see
Okay.
if he really goes to get the guy.
He's searching several taverns and wine establishments and gambling halls, and he's going through quite a bit, just trying to find his brother. He doesn't know exactly where he's at, but he's searching for him. After about an hour, he comes back.
I
So
hid in an alleyway and drop Obfuscate and return to the group.
yeah, so you guys kind of wait around for an hour, and he does eventually come back, dragging his brother, who is drunk. Um, he's actually kind of like leaning on his older brother. He's a handsome dude. His younger brother is, um, and he's pretty sloshed. And he's actually bitching at his brother, like, "Man, I was going home with her, man. Why'd you drag me out of there? I was gonna have a lady company. I can't believe you dragged me to meet somebody. What's wrong with you, man? I don't get it." Just like over and over, you can hear him coming down the street. And he finally reaches you guys, and he looks up, and he looks at you, Labiana, and he's like, "What's wrong with you, lady? What's wrong with the mask?" And he reaches out to grab your mask.
I think at that, Labiana has become quite instinctual whenever that happens and just automatically takes a step back.
And he makes a drunken pass at you. "Oh, it's okay, lady. You can show me. I've slept with some ugly ladies before. It can't be that bad.
I step in front of Labiana. The lady doesn't like to be touched, and I would appreciate it if you respect her wishes.
What about you? And he reaches out and grabs your balls real hard. He's rolling Dex Brawl. He's rolling a Diff 7 because he's drunk. All right. Uh, as a surprise attack with one success, he's like, "What about you?" And he reaches out and he just like grabs your balls and squeezes. Unfortunately, you a vampire, and this don't have the effect on him on you that he thinks it's going to. You just kind of like look at him like, that's a little uncomfortable.
I look at him. Are you done?
And he's like,
Yeah.
just kind of like, what? Okay, buddy. Okay, you win. And he just like drops, like whatever.
And I look over at Labiana, pointing at her. The lady over here wants to ask you a question. I would appreciate it if you respect us.
He looks over at the. Did you say Labiana or Albana?
Sorry, Albina.
Oh yeah. So he looks over at Albana and he's like, "Oh, well, hey, here we go." And he starts drunkenly hitting on you.
At all this, Labina's probably just shaking her head, and in her mind, she's thinking, "Damn humans."
Yeah, this is a nightly occurrence for her.
Alvina has a. Alvina puts on the closest thing to a sweet smile that her face is able to form, while she pulls down her cowl to show her face. Um, Labiana and Astarte, like you can see behind her, her hand twisted, balling into a fist tightly, as she
I
makes the show of being flattered by the man.
I whisper in Persian. What was the language that we all spoke again? Anyway, as I whisper in the language that we speak, be careful. We do not need witnesses.
Well, they might not enjoy being touched, but I am willing to make a exception if you can help me. Earlier this day, a few pretty ladies came by. They went to that store. She's going to motion to the other store that the girls are going to.
Okay.
Gripping her. Along the way, one of them happened to be attacked, stabbed in the back by another woman. Now, someone that has such a fine taste human like yourself surely would have been paying attention to those beauties.
Um, Even as drunk as he is, he's sizing up the situation a little bit, and he goes, I might need a little, yeah, weighted metal in my palm to sober up enough to answer that question. And he kind of holds his hand out, obviously looking for a little bit of money.
Instead of offering money, Abner is going to step closer, trying to put his hand on her breast.
This works for him too. He is feeling you up in the street, which, in all honesty, draws no attention from anybody. And he's like, "Oh, for a cold bitch, you feel pretty nice." And his brother's looking at him like, "What the hell is wrong with you, man?" And he's groping and squeezing and doing his best best to enjoy himself in his drunken state. And he's like, "Yeah, man, that old Claudia over there, she's a tough old bird. Likes dealing with the ladies, and yeah, I remember hearing a couple of screams and such, and somebody getting stabbed today. Didn't really see too much though." And he glances at the booth, and you realize that it is pretty crowded today when it happened. Uh, don't know what you want me to tell you.
Are you not able to make out some more details about the attacker?
They didn't run
Gorgeous.
past me. I'm sorry. Uh, and his brother's like, all right. He kind of pulls him off of you, and he's like, "This is and he goes, I'm sorry. This has gone far enough. I need to get him home, and as you can tell, none of this really affected us. So, maybe you could take your questions elsewhere."
I look at the non-drunk brother. He just mentioned a name, Claudia, I believe.
Yeah, she runs the booth over there.
Might you know where she lives, if we can pay her a visit to see what she remembers of the attack?
Yeah, about two buildings down that way, and he points. So she's pretty close.
Yes, that is useful information. We can act on this.
I thank you for
Well,
your time.
thank you very much for your help.
And he drags his brother away before, because he saw the situation was going to start getting ugly, and he drags him away.
I look at the coterie. Is there anything else we need to take care besides investigating who attacked your cult member?
Well, we need to make preparations for the upcoming festival uh, with Helena.
Yes. We'll take care of a few things for that while we're here, what we can.
I believe that would be wise. Out of character, how far away is the date of the celebration?
Couple of weeks.
And
But
uh,
the important thing is other people know about it.
So other people are going to try to book the best troops before we can if we do not act fast.
how many weeks will it take for me to send somebody back to Phoenicia and bring back entertainment from there?
Months.
Okay, no, don't forget about it. Okay, so we're gonna need musicians, artists, and playwrights. Do you guys have any ideas of musicians and artists?
I believe that Alexander gave us the few names, yes?
Yes, and you happen to know a very good playwright.
Flavia.
Yep.
And she's also a musician, if I recall.
Now, probably not, but she is an extremely good playwright.
So we got that covered. So we need musicians. Do you guys want to go see if we can book the musicians first? Then we'll continue investigating. Because we can come here the next night and talk to the lady of the stall. Or do you guys want to really do that at this moment?
It would be probably best to focus on the upcoming festival. This matter, as unpleasant as it is to see someone tapping into a herd, is of lesser importance.
And there is yet time to look into that.
I believe that would be wise. So, got any names for the musicians?
You do, in fact, have
Many,
a
Oh, yeah.
couple of musician names. There are three that are in high demand in Rome.
Are they mortal or immortal?
They are all mortal.
Do we know how to get in contact them? Should we like set up a meeting with them beforehand, or how be the procedure that we know of?
Well, during the day, you could send somebody to go where they are normally likely to be found sleeping. Um, and there's a pretty standard places where they're found. Usually, like if there's a big horse race, they're going to be near the Circus Maximus, for instance. Um, now, getting a meeting at night is going to be a different story. So you got to kind of either bribe your way in or use your influence to get your way in. So you can roll your charisma plus commerce, or charisma plus or plus your influence. That's the word I was looking for. Influence.
It'll probably be best to do during the day with through some proxies instead of doing it ourselves during the night.
Okay. Who are you gonna have do it? Is the question. And which one are you going for?
What are the differences between the three of them?
The best man has he actually has a whole crew with him. Several people learning from him at all times, and they travel with him. And he knows all the music for most of the popular plays in Rome, and he's pretty good at learning stuff. So he's in pretty high demand, and he charges rates accordingly. But he also
So I
draws
was about
huge
to say-
crowds.
Yeah, I was just about to say, what can we actually afford?
Well, you have a lot of money.
Yes.
But we have to arrange for musicians, artists, and playwrights. We got the playwrights covered, so we're still gonna need. Um, are we gonna pay? I believe it would be just to pay Flavia for her services rendered.
Well, I'm
Or
sure
are we gonna?
Flavia will do it for the challenge of doing it.
Okay, then in that case, we have to cover the money between the musicians and the artists. Do you guys receive any names for artists, prominent artists?
Don't forget other entertainment as well. There are other entertainment people out there to be had.
Yes.
So yeah,
while
there's three musicians that are good choices to go after. Two of them have people that are learning from them at pretty much at all times.
buying some exotic animals could also be a good idea.
So, what can we take care of tonight?
Question.
Most of this mortal stuff seems to be stuff that would be best dealt during the day through
Dungeon.
proxies.
Exactly.
Okay. And do you know anything about these people so we can start making a decision about who we're gonna approach tomorrow morning? Are their names known to us, DM?
Well, the three musicians are actually pretty famous, especially to somebody like Flavia, who is immersed in the entertainment world. And Alexander gives you guys a couple of names as well. If you're looking for an animal trainer, there's only one that would be truly acceptable. And a couple of you guys would probably know this. It's a lady named Octaviana Cano. Octaviana Cano. Cano. She's an acrobat and animal trainer.
Oh, very nice.
Would it also be worth looking at perhaps uh, maybe gladiator fights for those who might be interested in that kind of thing? Almost like a wrestling show, but back in the day kind of thing.
No, no, gladiators are big business, and in fact, uh, they're the billboard stars, right, of today. Like, people will get their permission to paint their portraits and literally put advertisements up with their names next to it.
Do you guys know any gladiator trainer besides Valeronius?
Well, uh, as it turns out, Astartes, your main bodyguard happens to know the names of several more or less independent gladiators who are big names on the circuit and don't are free and are free, so they don't have they're not obligated to stay in a place. So they kind of go from school to school and venue to venue, earning their own way.
I assume that he is always with me. My bodyguard is always with me, so he might step up and tell me that he knows those people, right?
He's actually probably talked to you about him several times, like pointed out advertisements and been like, "Oh yeah, man, she's awesome. That guy's awesome." Yeah, so it's one of those guys who kind of talks about his fandom as it is.
I look at Labiana after hearing comments about Gladiator. I believe I have a solution for that. Parik Bal is very fond of a few of them. Maybe I can make his day and see if we can approach them to see if they are willing to come.
That would be good. Yes.
Yes, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
I look at Parik Bal. Do you know where they live?
Well, I know where they're performing right now, so but you got to tell me. And he's like really excited about this. You got to tell me who you want. So Agrippa Helvius is a female gladiator, and oh man, the size of her biceps are just amazing. She's really famous, really expensive though, to hire. If you want somebody who's kind of feral though, like if you want somebody intense, there's a lady named Procula. She does a lot of underground fighting stuff. In fact, I think I know where she's at tonight. If you wanted to go see, there's a dude Decius Hilario, and he's pretty famous. But then you've also got a guy named Faustius. Uh, he's an old man in a young man's game, so we could probably afford him. We might be able to get him easier.
I look at the ladies. I believe then we need somebody who's intense at the moment to provide more entertainment. Do you agree?
Yes. That Pharaoh one. Someone that's able to really make the fight uh, nearly animal-like might be a good idea. Might be tickle all the points that will get Helena excited.
It might. So I look at
Especially,
Barbara. Yeah,
especially if they can put on a good performance.
and I look at Barbara. Can she put up really good performance for us?
To see her in action, it's something to behold, especially when the money starts flying, and you get her the right opponent. It's like watching. Oh man, how can I put it? You ever see one of those mongoose creatures going after a snake?
Yes.
It's like watching that. It's like watching a mongoose and a bear. If a mongoose and a bear had a child, that's what it's like to watch her in action.
Is that admiration and love I hear in your voice, Barik Bal?
You hear lust in my voice, that's for sure.
Okay. Trust your judgment. Point the way, my man.
With a big smile on his face, he leads you guys through a number of steadily darker and darker alleys and under overhangs, through the streets to seedier and seedier bars. Finally, in a more or less underground spot where you have to like go down like a little tunnel and a bunch of buildings are built over you, you can hear the sound of raucous cheering echoing out already as you approach it. And he knocks on the door and it opens, and you guys pay your entry fee of a silver piece. And you walk in. The room is packed. People shoulder to shoulder, standing room only. There's a small fighting pit about 5 meters on a side, and you see two people in there smashing at each other, bare fists. You see people they're gambling, they're betting, they're drinking. That just the adrenaline of the crowd. Just, yeah, yeah! People screaming, shouting at each blow and thud of fist. They're loving it. He makes his way. The big guy makes his way, pushes his way through the crowd, and grabs hold of the guy who's betting. He's like, "Hey, hey, have we missed Procria? Has she come up yet?" And he's like, "No, man, nah, she's up." And he points at a couple of candles that's on the wall, and he goes, 1.5 candles, so about an hour and a half. So you guys watch a couple of fights. You can gamble if you want. Or do you just kind of wait?
I've never really decided if Labiena's the gambling type. She really has no use for it, but then, I don't know. She might dabble from time to time, I guess.
I'm not going to be gambling. More out of the desire for the entertainment, than any actual desire to make money out of this, any actual value for the monetary stuff.
I look at Barkwell. This is your territory, my man. Who should we gamble on?
He pulls out some of his money, and when the next couple of next fighters step out, he takes a look, evaluates, thinks about who he is, and he pulls the guy aside, and he's like, "Hey, 2 silver on," and he points at his chosen fighter, and they start doing the conditions, saying how quick, how many blows, special bets, this and that. And he places a bet that it's going to take, that his chosen fighter is only going to take 3 major blows, and he's going to win.
I approached the guys taking the bet, and I double that, and I also give him 2 silver pieces.
All right.
But just remember that Labiena doesn't have any commerce yet, although at some point I do plan to buy myself a dot with my accumulating XP.
Yeah, so you have no idea how to calculate how much money you might win for this.
Yeah, so at this point she's probably going to hold off knowing that, but...
Yeah, so you're kind of watching, and people are kind of explaining how the betting system works and the odds, how much money you could win, this and that. And you guys, of course, know enough by now, in an area like this, you put a hand on your money sack and you do not let it go. The fight begins, and we're just going to make a quick luck roll here. Barrack Ball was right on the money. The fight begins, the 2 men come out. His chosen fighter has a trident and one of those half-arm armored pieces, like the Samnite armor. And his opponent has a club. A club and a shield. And his opponent is pretty adept at wielding off at fending off the trident as they come in. And He gets a couple of smack. He smacks you. He actually hear a rib crack, and the whole crowd, yeah, cheering. Gets a couple of major blows, and he smashes the guy with a shield a couple of times. You can see his nose gets broken, blood flies. And then his opponent takes the trident, whips it around, and catches the club, and then twists it. And then with his armored hand, he backhands him a couple of times, and it just smashes him in the face. You actually can see Labiana, you especially, as you heighten your eyes, and you actually see his jaw shatter. Boom! You see his chin collapse. And he staggers back against the wall, and he just comes in for the body blows. 1, 2, 1, 2, takes the trident, whips it around, and just smashes him across the face, and the guy just falls down on the ground. Boom! Limp. He's probably has a shattered skull. Barrack Ball's laughing, cheering, goes up to collect his winnings. Astartes, you guys now have 101 gold pieces to spend on your hiring spree.
Nice.
And I look at Bargabal then. Well, thank you for your advice. It was very, very good one, my friend.
There's a couple more of these small fights, and then finally the hype man comes out. All right, everybody. All right, this is what you've been waiting for. And the crowd kind of parts, and this big guy comes out, bare-chested, bare arms. He's got a helmet on, and he comes out wielding just one giant club, almost like a big baseball bat. And he goes, and coming out here is Procula! It's Procula Cato! And like everybody's screaming at the top of their lungs. The bets immediately come pouring in. Labiana, if you like, you can attempt to go see how that guy's doing before the main event starts here.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, she'd be tempted to.
Yeah, I mean, they basically just kind of pulled him out and pulled him around to the corner. So they like pulled him to the outside of the bar and just dump him. So yeah, you can kind of push your way around through there. Over in the losers' corner, nobody really cares. They're losers. People only care about winners. So you're hearing the fighting and the cheers in the background as you push your way over. And the guy, he's knocked out. He is unconscious.
A bit easier then.
Yeah, roll your intelligence plus medicine. Or, if you have it, you could do Hearth Wisdom, anything that relates to the human body, like a skeletal structure or something like that, at a lower difficulty. So it's diff 6.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't actually have Earth Wisdom, so...
Also with medicine, it's diff 6.
Say intelligence medicine?
Yep. You can do perception as well if you want to. As you're feeling around, you're feeling the bones, you're feeling his skull, you're opening his mouth, looking at his teeth, and his, looking at the injuries.
Well, I was gonna say she'll probably use intelligence, but does her research specialty apply here?
Yeah, let's say yeah. I'm okay with it. As you're trying to recall everything you've seen from all the skeletons that you've, seen defleshed, and trying to relate the musculature to where it should be attached and where it actually is attached, or not attached, as the case may be.
I think she's at that phase now where she's sort of learning more about the condition of the human bodies while they're alive and trying to compare between that and when they're, well, after they've died, kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
So she's kind of in that phase at the moment.
Okay, so no tens, but 4 straight successes. He has a broken orbital socket, so the bone around his eye is shattered. His jaw is broken. He's missing several teeth. His tongue might, in fact, be partially severed from the successive impacts and blows. He has several broken ribs. And judging from the sound of his incredibly labored breathing and his horrible moaning and groaning, he might have some internal injuries bleeding. And his ears are leaking blood as well.
Ooh. Seeing all of this, does she have any idea whether or not he might survive?
He's probably going to die.
So knowing this, she's probably tempted to kind of stick around and watch it unfold.
All right. So screw the fight. You got something more interesting to look at.
Yeah.
Everybody else.
Yeah, she entrusts Albina and Astartes with choosing the gladiators for the party.
In fact, you might just drag this guy out of here and take him back to Fawzia and be like, let's watch this.
Pretty much.
So
This is
everybody
much more
else is
entertaining to love.
Yeah, that's right. This is a lot more interesting than a fight. So Procula comes out, and she's a big woman. Kind of like strong woman sized. Kind of a big, not fat belly, just kind of big. Big bones, big wide shoulders, big biceps, big forearms. From the look of her fists and her knuckles, she has seen a lot of fights and a lot of punching. She's missing several teeth. She's a little bit bow-legged. But you can see by the way she walks, or kind of waddles, she's barefoot. And her feet and calves are just like gripping the sand as she walks. So like she doesn't just step, she steps and her toes curl and like grips at the floor as she walks like a predator, like a cat. And she comes in and she's like, her head is swinging from side to side. She looks at the crowd. She thumps her chest. She's got like a light leather chest plate on, and a leather skirt. Not really armor so much as it is decorative, almost like leather clothing instead of, leather armor. And the betting begins. Do you guys place your bets? Odds are 2-1 on her. She's a 2-1 favorite.
I'm gonna take 2 silver pieces from my own pocket and bet on her.
All right. Albina, you gonna bet?
Yes, putting money on her.
All right. Barrack Ball opens up his entire everything that he has on him, throws it down on her. All of it. Whatever his resources is, that's what he bets.
Is that wise, my friend?
He just winks at you.
Ardashir will be pissed if he finds out about this.
He's like, it's my money. It won't be the first time he's been pissed at me.
And it won't be the last.
And then he looks at you and he goes, you're not upset with me about this, are you?
Nah, it's your money, like you said.
All right. So he lays down 5 silver. That's what he's got. Betting concluded, plus the winnings that he just picked up. So he's about a gold, so about 10 silver is what goes out there. Fight begins. She is weaponless against the guy with a weapon, and she drops to all fours and immediately begins circling, and she circles fast. He comes out swinging, and she rolls off to the side, and she actually puts her feet on the wall and then pushes off the wall and rolls and tumbles at an angle around the guy. And he keeps like whipping around in a circle trying to keep up with her as she tumbles and cartwheels past him. As he's swinging the club, she sees it coming, leaps. She does a backflip over the club, does a back roll, comes up with 2 handfuls of sand. As he turns around, she whips him in his face. Whack, whack. He swings the club blindly and kind of catches her in the ribs as she's coming in, and she pops the helmet off his head just a little bit and smashes him with a headbutt. Just pow! Breaks his nose, shatters his nose, and if he had front teeth, they'd have been gone. Blood goes flying. She grunts a little bit as the club hits her. Seems to shrug it off mostly. And then he clears the sand out of his eyes. They back away again. This time a little less frantically, as she continues to dodge his blows. And she comes in, and she's using her forearms sometimes to block the club. It appears it's not really hurting her when she does that. Her forearms are so thick with muscle. They come in for the next round of blows. This time, she ducks under. She leaps in low, almost like a frog. She kind of gets low like a frog, leaps in, and he was expecting her to get a little bit high. So when he swings, it just passes over her head, and she slides under his legs, flips to her back, and kicks him square in the nuts. And she kicks him so hard, as big as this guy is, he rises up in the air, and she heel thrusts, not like a shin kick, but heel thrusts straight up. And he rises in the air about 12 inches, about a foot. And his eyes just roll up, and he's like, oh! And he just leans forward and pukes all over the place. The crowd's going wild as he staggers and he turns, and he's seriously hurt. If LaPiana was watching, she would tell you this lady might have just literally shattered a testicle by kicking it that hard. The fight from here goes clearly in her favor as he struggles to recover. Now she starts toying with him. Eventually, she gets tired of it, and she figures she's played with the crowd enough, and she rips the club out of his hands and then just grabs his head and begins headbutting him over and over and over and over until he falls limp, and her forehead is all bloodied, blood streaming down her face, and she just smiles that little gap-toothed smile and just lets him fall, and then soaks it up, and everyone's tipping and cheering and throwing copper coins at her as a tip for the entertainment. There you go. You guys go collect your winnings.
While we're collecting, I look at Barbell. If a fight breaks out between you and her, is she on your level, below your level, or above your level? Who will win?
With your gifts, I win. Without your gifts, it might be a draw. Without your gifts, it might be close.
That's all I needed to hear. Let's make your fantasy come true, my friend.
Yeah, so you guys approach, and she's got admirers around her, and people are propositioning her for the night. Brave souls are propositioning her for the night.
How many money that we win out of that?
Whatever you put up, you doubled. You got half back. So if you put up a gold, you got a gold and 5 silver.
put on 2 silver from my own money. That's about 3 silvers back, right?
Yeah, so you got your bet back plus half again. So if you put down 2, you get 3.
And approach Adama. I'm gonna see if we can hire her.
Yeah, make a charisma plus. There's no swagger ability, so what would be a good like get out of my way, fools ability to pair with that? Intimidation or performance or leadership.
If it's intimidation, I believe we're gonna let Amna lead the way.
So you guys decide, but the way which way you roll is going to influence how you need to RP it. That's all. So
So it is what that said charisma and
charisma, if you do intimidation, it's like get out of my way before I stomp you in the ground, or you could do leadership by being the most dignified person there and convincing them to leave you alone or to get out of the way.
I'm going to try to use charisma and leadership.
Okay,
Try to exert a presence over the others.
absolutely, go for it. Diff 6.
One success.
Okay, that's all you need, really. It's a struggle to get through. But Albina, you put your hand up and you're like, oh no no no, I need to get through, and you're dignified and with your eyes and everything. People are like, oh okay, all right. Plus, did you apply your enchanting voice to this?
No.
So it lowered it by. So you got 2 success. Well, diff 3, whatever. Anyways, it works. It's just a little more difficult to charm and persuade and be dignified, but you do eventually kind of part the crowd. And she's on the verge of leaving with somebody for tonight.
I'm just going to approach her. Make sure to make noise, not wishing to surprise her. Figuring that surprising her will go about as well as surprising a wild lion. An impressive fight. Although I imagine that it was not so impressive from your point of view. You took care of that one quite quickly.
Yeah, it was good to play with him. And she kind of like tongues at the gap in her mouth. You can see a bruise beginning to develop on her ribs where the club hit her. He was fun to play with.
I'm gonna try to seduce her.
Okay. Your base difficulty is 6. You have merits. I believe it's appearance plus subterfuge to do this.
Yes, it's
And you do need to have 4 successes because she was on the verge of leaving with somebody already. So you've got to fight that kind of convince her to go with you instead of him.
Hold on. I received 2 extra dice and lower the difficulty by 1.
Right, well, you have that appearance specialty, right? Or that
Yes.
merit. So plus you have presence. Do not forget that. If you wanted to chance popping up all, which would definitely help you here. Or entrancement, if you really want to do that, but your choice, of course. Oh, you've got it, man. Oh, man.
Yeah, without the awe. Got it.
Yeah, the pretty boy walks up to her. And she looks at you, and she looks at the guy she's about to leave with, and she looks back at you. And you give her the wink and roll the hips and, whatever, however it is you like to seduce people. And she just, shoves him out of the way.
I got a better proposition for you. A 2-for-1 deal. And I look at Barak Ball. Think you can take both of us on?
Barrack Ball has a huge smile on his face. Uh, and she looks at you and she goes, "You think you got what it takes to hang with a champ, boy? I'm gonna turn you into a man."
That's all I get. That's all I want to know. What it actually feels like to be a man. I've never been with a true woman before.
Well, she's leaving with you guys. No doubts about that.
I look at Abina. Are we going?
Alvin looks over at Ashnar. It's a big surprise and shock that he's the way how he handled this, but not displeasing anyway. A slight smile forms on her face and she nods. Yes.
And while we're walking, I believe we will proposition the business to her.
She is quite a shrewd negotiator. She starts out with 20 gold pieces. That's her starting offer. It's time to dicker. 20 gold, and I'll go do it. Plus, I get to keep all my tips.
I look at Abina.
Let us lower it to 15 gold. Trust me, your tips are not going to make up for this. We are going for a place with big spenders, you see.
She considers. She's not even gonna. She's not even gonna make you roll for that. Okay, you guys now have 86 pieces of gold to hire other people with.
Okay, so I'm think I'm gonna conclude my business with her. Do you want to tag along Albina, or are you gonna? Where's Labiana, by the way? I just realized that I didn't see Labiana.
Yeah, you guys left her behind. You have no idea.
Aye, you search for Laviana. After you had some fun with your newest friend, we can meet again. Yes,
Okay, I will come find you then at your haven.
please.
Okay, let's start it. Barkball, let's go.
All right. Without getting too into depth, she wears Barrack Ball out, and if you were human, she might have worn you out. And the important question is, are you ghouling her or not?
Actually, I was thinking about it. I'm gonna ghoul her during the act if I can get away with it.
Yeah. Because it doesn't have to be injected through the mouth. We'll put it like that. Use
Yeah.
your imagination.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna
Let
ghoul
me
her then.
into her drink.
All right. Spend 2 blood, Astartes.
Yep, it's done.
All right. Labiena, you drag this man back to your haven with Fawzia. And you and her spend the rest of the night watching him slowly suffocating to death on his own blood. And watching his brain slowly get pressured, slowly get crushed to death due to what do they call that? A subdural hematoma, or whatever it is they call it. Basically, he's leaking blood
Something like that.
into his brain.
Yeah. Yeah, you can just imagine them, just watching and
Yep.
Lavinia
And-
doing her usual thing and furiously scrawling notes as she has, at every epiphany that comes to her. And just,
And
yeah.
the next night, you guys are going to perform an autopsy and see exactly what was going wrong, if you can. So, that's your plan for the next night.
Yep.
All right, you guys have a gladiator. That takes you a good portion of the night. The next evening, when you wake up, There are sad faces. Another member of your herd has been attacked.
Alvina tells the girls to take her to the one that has been attacked.
They take you up to the apartments. She's been severely injured. She is, in fact, dying.
Alvina signs more out of frustration than than actual concern for the girl. Keep her calm while I go prepare the milk of the goddess for her. She proceeds to once again go downstairs and prepare the mixture with her blood.
All right. You're going to need to do eventually 3 of these for her. You give the first one to her. You have to do it very slowly, very very slowly.
Not have her overdose on it.
Yep, and just so that she doesn't puke it all back up, right? And she gets a little stronger. Once again, she's been stabbed in the back. There's several stab wounds, and there's a slice across the back of her leg. She's never going to walk normally again. It's only going to heal so much. But the worst of the damage after 3 doses is healed up enough to where you think she's going to recover.
Tell me, child, where did this happen?
Food shopping, mistress. We were we were picking up fish at the fish market. I got distracted. Us and a couple others were out there. There were 3 of us, and a guy came up and tried to steal our coin purse, and we caught him. And as he ran off, we were getting ready to chase him, and I felt myself get stabbed several times. And by the time I could cry out, it hurt so much. I screamed out for help, and the guy got away, and she points out the other 2. They came back to grab me, and they managed to drag me quickly to the nearby doctors. But all they could do was close the skin. They told me to make my peace.
The abilities of mortal man are nothing compared to the healing abilities of mortal man, not compared to those that the gifts of the goddesses grants. Did you see who stabbed you, who injured you?
No, but we're pretty sure it was planned.
Yes. Just like what happened to that other girl, Agrippina. Tell me, do you know of anyone that would have a reason to do so? Anyone that would hold hostilities towards you?
The only one I can think of is that those kids that we had locked up for a while. But how could they be doing this to us? How do they even know? They should be dead by now.
Never doubt the power of spite.
You realize, at this point, that both of the ones that got attacked are probably near 50. So they would have been alive for the kids that you guys had locked in your basement.
By this time, the kids would be how old around? What would be the around the age that we can expect them to be at?
Probably around 40.
40.
So yeah, somewhere between 30 and 40, give or take a couple years.
Openness feels her temper rising as she hears this. Reminders of her failed hunt for the kids, uh, feeling out a sense of shame that turns into anger. She turns away from the woman. Those little bastards. That's not going to be go unpunished. The punishment, in fact, has been long overdue. She's going to proceed to uh, walk around for a few moments before pulling out a blade. Which one of you girls know how to use this?
They kind of look at each other, and there's several of them now that have gathered to watch the healing, and they're like, I can fillet a fish. I've never tried to use it on a person.
Then you'll be thought to do so. Not these children are not going to be being able to harm you unpunished, nor you'll be caught undefended.
All right, well, let's take a break here. We'll come back in 10 and pick this up where we just left off. All right, so we're all back. You have directed some of your followers to arm themselves with knives in preparation for further attacks. Now, what are you liking to do? What's your plans?
They are clearly targeting their followers themselves. They're targeting likely the other ones, the one that actually had contact with them. That would mean that they might make for good bait. And that might be the only reliable way to drown out the kids at this point. She's going to. She's going to ask. She's going to then contact with the stats and ask to borrow one of his bodyguards.
I'm gonna show up with out of character. Is my new ghoul prepared to act as my bodyguard?
No.
So just gonna show up with bark ball then.
In fact, your new ghoul is making her preparations to head to the city, and she, after spending the night with you, she took off and is doing her own thing. In fact, she took half payment now, and she's going to take half on completion. Was the deal that she made? So, yeah. So you head on over.
Well, Albina, here I am. What happened?
I think I have an idea of who's the source of those attacks. Do you remember those kids that I tried to hunt down some decades ago? The ones that Labiana was trying to embrace but escaped?
You see him scratching his head. I recall we had that conversation, yes?
Yes, the little bastards that shed sapphire to the haven. They seem to be the ones behind these attacks. I have an idea on how to deal with them. When they are attacking during the day, they are attacking the older girls the ones that are around when they are here, the ones that they recognize. Well, they do not recognize any of your goals, for your goals are not around them. So, if one of your goals to happen to be nearby one of our goals, when they attacked, your goal will be able to pursue them and capture them. They will not suspect that your goal happens to be a bodyguard for one of the girls, to be involved with us.
Okay. I look at Barkwell. Think you can pull it off with day and night duty?
He's like, well, I guess I have to ask, when are these attacks happening? Like, what are they doing?
They are stabbing the girls during the day. They seem to be making use of distractions or taking opportunity when the girls are distracted. The latest one, apparently, has stabbed while she's pursuing a thief.
Uh, I have a suggestion, Alvina. You said that they were attacking the older ones, and they do not know the younger ones. What if we sent an older one with a younger one, but we have Barkba Hill here? Give them the basics of fighting so they can defend themselves, and while Barkba will step in there to so step in there to capture the escaped children.
I'd appreciate they being if they are trained, yes, but in the end, I like Barakbal to be present. I'd
Oh,
not trust those girls to be able to deal with those kids by themselves, even if
n-
they are trained.
no, Barkba will be present, but I just want to give them a little more defense in case something happens, so they can defend themselves while Barkba gets there.
Yes, and also they should wear some metal beneath their clothing.
I agree.
Barrack Ball kind of looks at you guys. He's like, that stuff's kind of expensive. Can they afford it?
I look at Abela. Can you afford it?
No. The answer is no.
Yeah,
Then I believe we should focus their training more on dexterity, evasion, and I
they're
believe
attacked, they're attacked from behind. They cannot evade that they do not see.
yes, but we will send people to also a little bit because I'm afraid Barbal, with his size, will draw attention. But if we send some of your people, maybe a few feet behind the older ones, they might be able to intercept while Barbal gets there. And Barbal will be a few feet behind them. So giving the older ones more chance of surviving an attack unharmed.
Very well.
Yeah, he looks relieved at that plan. Subtle's not really in his vocabulary.
So bring out your strongest cult members and we'll see what Ball can do with them. And while they're being trained, we can also go see if we can find more arrangements for what you need for the festivities.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, I think I pressed the wrong button for here. And while Ball is training the recruits, we can go over what we need for the festivities.
Yes. We need to send someone to set up the arrangements with one of the artists and musicians during the days, but they are still in operation.
Mm. Out of character, I believe artist here has a little bit of renown right now in Rome because he's working as a salesman of sorts, right? A merchant. He's a merchant actually. His day cover is a merchant.
Um, he is a merchant, but he basically is coordinating like food deliveries and stuff from various farms and things like that.
But I believe if Albina doesn't have anybody better, that he could be the one to arrange the meeting because his name has a little bit pull behind it with his influence and stuff like that.
Well, he doesn't definitely has enough contacts. He can definitely figure out where people are and go talk to them.
I want to make it look like a businessman is hiring these people, so they cannot be traced to us directly.
Yeah, he would be a good guy to do that.
So I will give him the order when I return back to my compound. But I look at Alvina. Have we decided who we're gonna approach? Because we have a gladiator, if I can find her. Um, Now we need a musician, right? We haven't really decided who we're gonna approach from the names that you got.
We go for the most expensive one. There is not waste. Not be cheap on this. Have the opportunity to gain the favor of a Methuselah.
Okay, and agree on that. And so we're only going with the Flavia, the musician, and the Superwoman. Is that correct?
Hmm? Yes.
And where the hell is Labiana? Did you see her?
I did not see her since we last left the fighting pit. She's probably doing something somewhere.
And you see him face palm himself. I hope she didn't kill anybody yet. Should we go find her?
Yes, probably a good start might be looking to her mentor. Yes?
Can we approach that place? Are we allowed there?
Why wouldn't we be?
This is technically her mentor's haven. Are we welcomed there?
Fauzia and we are in a relatively good relationship.
Okay. I trust you. Let's go.
All right. You make your way across the city to their new haven, which is Sardis you haven't been in yet. Albina, you have. It is tucked under the base of one of the new aqueducts that have been built over the last couple of decades. It is underground, carved into the bedrock of Rome, and it's near a spillway. And you understand that the deal they worked out with the Nosferatu, basically, they know that the Nosferatu are in the area. They're not in the haven, but they're in the area. So, you never know who's watching. It's actually pretty spacious, pretty well laid out. There's several different chambers carved into the rock. There's oil lamps, a couple of oil lamps burning, and there's a very thick door that is bolted from the inside. You make your way up. There is a guard, an observer who sees you coming. One of the people who, for some strange reason, finds Fawzia to be an acceptable master. And they just kind of nod at you and open the door and let you in.
Albina steps inside, announcing herself.
So, Labiena, you hear Albina announcing that she's here.
I also announce myself.
Yeah, you and Labiena, you and Fawzia have been taking some very sharp knives and have started at the skull and are dissecting the man's head open. He was dying slowly overnight, and when you woke up this evening, he was dead.
Well, upon hearing them, Labiena will look over to them as they're walking in. Albina, Astartes, good to see you. Sorry for running off, but something, as you can see, came up.
No need to apologize. Although we have updates on the situation of the attacks and
What did you find out?
Well, do you remember those kids that you tried to prepare for the embrace a few decades ago?
Upon hearing that, Labiena's face will change slightly. Yes. They're causing trouble again, are they?
It seems so. It seems so. Spiteful little brats do not seem to be willing to let it go. They do not seem to be aware of the luck that they have to still be alive.
But you
Well,
gotta admire their fighting spirit.
probably about the only thing we admire about them at this point. So, do we have a plan to, do something about them?
They know they spent enough time with us to be aware that we are only out at night. So they are attacking a ghost during the day. We are going to need ghouls to deal with them. Ghouls like Barakbal, who is going to be training our girls in the basics of keeping themselves alive the next time they are attacked.
That actually sounds like a good plan.
About that, Albina,
Yes?
I would like to request that when we get those kits, I remove them from your hand.
What do you mean, remove them from my hand?
I admire their fighting spirit. It's so it would be a waste to throw away such talents. As you can see, maybe we can get something out of them. They hate you guys, but they don't know me.
What do you suggest?
Just let me have a talk with them, see what I can find out.
I promise you to have a talk with them, but I cannot promise you what will happen after that talk.
The way I see it, worst case scenario, they know too much and regrettably they have to die. Best case scenario, they're out of your hair and they won't attack you anymore.
We'll see about that. But yes, I promise to not immediately kill them.
That's all I ask for. So, look, Labiana, is that the other guy from last night? Is that the reason why we lost you?
As a matter of fact, it was. I noticed his condition, and I figured they wouldn't mind us taking him off their hands.
So, learned anything new?
Um, as a matter of fact, he provided us with a lot of insight. Out of character, I wouldn't pretend to know what that is, but I
At least,
suppose out of pure sort of curiosity from her perspective, she'd pick up a notebook and kind of rattle off a few bullet points of.
Fazia begins to stop you as soon as you go to start explaining things. She's like,
That's why I said bullet
yeah,
points.
yeah. She's like,
Being as general as she can.
she
I look at
basically, yeah, she kind of looks up. She's like, the best knowledge is gained by firsthand experience. The second best knowledge is bought. No knowledge is free.
respect that. It's a pleasure to see you again, Fosia.
She just kind of looks up at you with those expressionless, washed out eyes. No mask, of course. Here in her own haven, she is herself. And she just kind of thinks for a second. She's like, pleasure. I suppose you could be intellectually stimulating.
Librarian at some point would have turned to Fauzi and said, "Don't worry, I wasn't going to tell him anything important."
I look at her. In what way? Because I believe our intellectual pursuits run in different circles.
She looks at you and she goes, I would very much like to know what circles you've been running in the last couple of years.
Like,
As
like,
would I.
like you said, the best knowledge is first-hand experience. Second best knowledge is knowledge bought.
She gestures at the body.
Yes. So you want to treat knowledge for knowledge?
I'll trade you knowledge for what we've learned about his head.
I believe that I'm not really that interested about what happened to this person in particular, but thank you for the offer.
She just shrugs. She reaches out to a bowl that's sitting on the table. It's got some jelly like blood and stuff in it. And you see her prick her hand and like squeeze some blood into it. And then she swirls it, and the blood that was in there, which you know is like the consistency of jelly with clots, and like actually smells a little bit. Then she swallows the whole concoction. She just picks it up and just like drinks it. Gulp, 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 gulp. Labiena knows what she just did. None of the rest of you guys do.
But,
To
well,
the rest of you guys, that was incredibly disgusting.
You see Osiris visibly shivers at the sight.
Alpna looks confused. How did that taste?
Awful, but nourishing.
Yes, I know the feeling.
I was going to say, while Felsia was doing that, She basically just remembered something and turns to the others and says, "Oh, by the way, how did it go with that fighter last night? The one we were looking at as potential entertainment."
She's ours. Astartes is the one that we have to thank for that.
You should thank Park, but it was his idea.
Brakbal belongs to you. His successes are yours.
That's excellent news.
And about her, let's just say she's an experience I'm not gonna forget for the next century.
Actually, where are we on the entertainment front? Have we made any other headway? Yeah.
Tomorrow, during the day, I'm gonna send my article to locate the best musician that we can find. Albina wants to put in everything we have on getting this one. So, if you agree with the plan, we shall go with it.
Very well.
So, how late is it right now out of character?
How late is it?
Yes.
About 2 hours after sundown.
So, I want to go feed.
Okay.
I look at Albina. Do you need a feed?
Would appreciate it, yes.
Labiana, care to join? The more the merrier.
Labiana will kind of look back at Falsier and everything they're doing there. She turns to the others and says, "I'm afraid I must pass, but thank you for the offer."
Okay. Next time, maybe.
Perhaps.
So, are we gonna hit the upscale part? Huh? I look at Albina. Are we gonna hit the upscale part of town?
Yes, last chance to find ourselves dealing with bad blood in there.
Okay. I believe that was your turf. Take us there.
She smiles and offers him a hand.
And I take her hand.
I'm gonna start guiding him up to the richer sides of town.
All right.
Uh,
So you guys head towards the Palatine Hill. Streets are more crowded tonight. I think the temperatures are maybe a little cooler, a little nicer to get out. As you head more towards some of the, let's call them upscale bars that pretend to be dive bars, if that makes any sense, to where many of the rich and protected go to pretend to be poor and go gamble and do socially frowned upon things like that. You head out. There's a number of brothels. You guys happen to know that your old friend Decius has a well-respected brothel here in this area. You have your choice, essentially, of gambling establishments, wine places, prostitutes, all kinds of such things.
She's going to go for Decius' place.
Yeah, you head over to Decius's place, and his one of his guardsmen his clients is there watching the place. It's the old Gaulish guy is there. Carmen, his name is. You see Carmen off in the corner. Gives you a nod of recognition as the two of you enter. The mistress of the house bustles up to you. Hello, gentlemen. Hello, hello. Come in, come in. Welcome, welcome. What is your desire this evening? And you see half-naked women walking everywhere, just the thinnest of nightshirts on. Talking. There's actually some good-looking young boys as well, 15, 16 years old. Not too young, but old enough to be plying the trade, as it were.
Me and my partner here are celebrating our anniversary, and I feel like the best way to celebrate it is a night of going all out. Don't you agree?
Yes, we are looking to enjoy it with others.
And is this enjoyment? She looks at Carmen, and Carmen gives a little signal. She goes, "And is this enjoyment purely physical, or will you be partaking of our house special brews?"
Special brews.
And I nod my head.
Do be careful when imbibing them, as they may go to your head. That will be. She looks, and he gives her another signal. You can pay my master in favors, or you can pay my master in coin.
If it's in coin, how much will it cost us for a night?
It depends on how much you wish to imbibe.
We'll take light sips.
I'm I'm afraid last night I used a little bit more than I was anticipated. So what if I take light sips from five of them? How much would that cost me?
That would be a cost of 5 silver if you're taking light sips from them. If you must drink deeply and drink well, be 1 gold piece per.
I believe I'm gonna take five light sips for me. Are you, Alvina?
Likewise,
Um, it, I will send a couple in at a time.
do you have a room ready?
She makes some gestures against talking to people. They go upstairs and check. Go get a couple of rooms together. Um, you tender payment, and about half an hour later, you walk out 5 blood points more full. The people that they have employed for this are actually used to the feel of the kiss and look forward to it and offer themselves freely.
During during the time her time in the brothel, she's also going to ask for the master of the house, Decius, if he is present.
I'm afraid he's not in at the moment, but if you wish to come back tomorrow night, we can arrange. I will see if he's available.
That would be a most pleasant thing to do. Yes, I think we need to speak to him.
She looks at Carmen, and he makes a note, and he goes to the back for a second. And you know he probably talked to the one of his other clients that stays back there just for emergencies, and comes back out.
I look at Avina. Shall we go check on the progress of our younglings?
Yes,
A bid farewell to the madame, and I go outside.
Obna gives them all a respectful nod as she leaves. lingering a second long on Carmen, as they having more familiarity with the gangrel from the time together dealing with Valeronius stuff.
He nods back respectfully, recognizing your ability.
So we go back to the cult haven.
All right. Barrack Ball is trying to teach them a couple of basic swings, essentially. How not to lose your knife while you're fighting. It's going to take him a couple of weeks to give them more than just don't drop it here training. But he has given them a few tips.
So while we're looking at the progress, I ask Alvina, what do you think? Are they sufficiently for this to do this tomorrow, or you want to wait a little bit longer?
If we wait until they are sufficiently ready, we are not going to be doing this at all.
Okay.
We
On
need to,
another.
we
Mm-hmm.
need, we need to take this risk.
Okay. And on another note, do you want Barkwell to keep training them?
If you not take him away from you, yes.
Maybe maybe 1 day a week, to, and the rest of the days you can having them keep practicing.
For at least as long as possible, yes.
Okay. In that case, when one day I will need your aid, you will provide it then? A minor boon?
Let's make it a trivial boon for the moment, as it is only 1 day a week that his services will be required, and only for the day.
Okay. Deal.
Deal.
And I walk up to Barkwell. Think they can handle it tomorrow?
He shrugs. He says, I can handle it tomorrow. I don't know about them."
So you're confident that it will go down without a hitch then?
I mean, I think they're gonna die, but and he says that right out loud. So you're like, I think they're gonna die, but I'll do my best.
That's all I ask for.
But that's not all that I require. She's, she stops for a moment as she looks over at Barkball. Tell me, the armor that you are wearing, do you think it would fit on the girls?
I think it'd be too big for them, but if you have any, or Hatshepsut might fit,
You see what we have.
perhaps something leather. They seem to be going for the kill shot on the kidneys. So if
The
there's
soft
something that can cover their lower back,
Yes, the soft parts, vital areas, not something that covers the entire body.
Leather hides or maybe more woolen clothes that they can use as bedding.
well, it's pretty hot outside. I think don't think a lot of people are going to get away with woolen cloaks and heavy clothing like that. Just roomy enough to conceal. And let's not forget, it's technically illegal, I think, to be wearing that inside of Rome. And then he just shrugs. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Not that anybody cares.
It's a valid point.
He goes, there's one trick that we used to use in my childhood. We used to take slats of wood and we would rope them together, like kind of weave them together with rope. Um, and then we would tuck it around our waist and our back.
Makeshift armor.
It's not very comfortable and uh, it won't last very long, but it'll stop a knife shot at least once.
Does not need to last. They only seem to be going for a handful of steps before running away.
And hopefully you will be there to stop them at that time. So can you show these people how to make it
Sure,
and
it's pretty
how
easy.
to make some?
He tells him what he needs, and thin. He needs thin pieces of wood, and he kind of like uses his hands to show him how big it needs to be, and basically goes through how to tie them together to form like almost like a corset. It looks silly. It looks ridiculous. But if they put something loose over it, it should hide it just well enough for a surprise attack to get countered. So the girls start to make a couple of those to try to pass around.
Look at Abela. Anything else for the night?
I believe this is everything, yes?
Okay, I believe I have to get back to my haven because I have some business to attend to. Outgathered, we cannot do anything else this night, right?
Yeah, not really.
No. So I'm going back to my haven.
Okay.
I'll spend the night doing my
Studying.
duties for the clan or studying, whatever.
Yep. All right. So the next day, during the day, your ghoul heads off into the districts. He spreads some money around, arranges a meeting with a man named Publius Titulus. He is the greatest musician publicly in Rome. His men are always in demand. They attempt to get him for all of the big plays. They know a lot of them. They perform quite well as the band or the chorus when needed. They've got a sterling reputation. So he spreads 2 of your gold pieces, so you're down to 84. But he does get a meeting. So, he's eating a late lunch. And you join him at a restaurant. So he's standing there, he's eating like a bowl of fish stew, basically. And your man comes up, Ardashir comes up, and begins to talk business with him. You can see several of the students are kind of eating, like scarfing down some bread and wine behind him.
Mm-hmm.
So Ardashir comes up and he shakes Ardashir's hand. This is so you're the man so desperate to meet. What can we do for you on this fine Roman evening?
We are hoping to secure your services for the upcoming festival in Pompeii.
Well, I'm glad you came now because I just had a meeting with somebody last night about the same thing. So I haven't struck a bargain yet. So you definitely get your opportunity.
Out of character, he's meeting Ardashir, right?
Yes, he is. So I kind of thought you were gonna be taking Ardashir's voice for
Oh,
that.
sorry, my mistake. Sorry, I thought.
That's all right. Well, we're just gonna start from there and keep going. So yeah, he takes another bite of his stew and looks at the Ardashir to gauge your reaction.
That is that I can understand that. I respect that. That's what would you say with meeting? How much are you? Is your starting bid? Let's start with that.
He just shrugs and he says, "Well, I have commitments already. I'm gonna have to put them off and refund money. So, how much are you willing to spend?"
I really don't know how to do this. What do I have to roll
It's
to
manipulation plus commerce.
standard diff?
Yeah, it's gonna be diff 6. And he is also going to roll that. If roll 20 will roll. Um, all right. Yeah, he's being pretty transparent. He hasn't shut out a price yet, but he just says how much are you willing.
With that amount of success, can other share give him a price that we say is okay?
Um, Ardashir can throw out a price that's not going to insult him into leaving immediately, for sure. In fact, Ardashir gives him a fair price if he had nothing else going on,
So now
which would
it's
be for him and his troop to go down and play for a couple of weeks. Would be about 30 of the gold pieces. That's what Ardashir's opening bid, which should be completely fair under normal circumstances.
and what is his counter bid?
Um, I'm so sorry. The bid I was offered last night was, and he kind of looks at Ardashir and he goes, 150. And with that roll of 5 successes, the dude is lying. He was not offered nearly that much.
You see, my friend, I am a businessman and I'm a shrewd businessman. So I believe that I find it hard to believe that somebody will offer that much money without a counter bid. And you said that was your first offer.
Except that was what I got offered last night.
But you have to ask, can they really pay that much money? That's a lot of money. Are they really good for it, or are they gonna rip it off?
Well, the deal is for half up front, as always. So, at a minimum, they're paying me 75.
Out of character, how much do we have?
You have 84.
Uh, gotta ask Albina something out of character.
Sure.
Albina, will it be okay if we spend 80 gold coins on him at this moment? and pay 3/4 up front? No, we have to pay all up front to beat the other.
I mean, he's not being honest about it, but sure.
Uh, as and I'm back in character. Let's say I gave you 70 gold pieces, 3/4 up front, and you get to keep all the tips that you get over there, and you're gonna get a lot.
He's like,
Hold on, other shit has. Oh crap! I didn't give him presents.
he's gonna say, well, I like you. You strike me as an honest man. I'll do it for 120 plus I keep tips.
120 total.
Plus I keep the tips.
Can we afford that much money?
Roll your perception plus commerce, or perception plus empathy, whichever's better. You think he's still probably highballing you a little bit. You think you can argue him down a little bit more.
$80 gold coins.
80. Hmm.
And you keep all the tips.
He looks back and he says, 85 and you pay me 65 now. And I keep all the tips.
So I have to pay you 65 now, and it's going to be 85 total.
Yeah.
Out of character, can we come up with the 20 difference between now and then?
I think you could argue him down a little bit and say 84, 83, and he'll cut it.
Okay, I'm gonna go for 83 then.
All right, he agrees to that.
So that's gonna be 65 total and 65 now and 83 total.
Yep.
And we have to find out a way to make. Oh no.
Nope, that leaves you with 1.
Okay, we're done then. And Alashir thanks him for his business, and he departs. And did you hear me?
Yep, I hear it. Ardashir will, of course, arrange for the gold delivery to be done later, and it will all be taken care of.
Yeah.
All right, you guys have a musician. That night, when you get up, Astartes, you wake up and you go to the common area to the sound of loud cursing. Cursing in Phoenician. Barrack Ball is pissed.
Take it did not go as planned.
He turns to look at you, and he has healing wounds across his hand and across his face and neck.
Do you need more to heal those up?
He goes no. He shows his hand, and you see he got stabbed in the hand. So you can see the shiny scar where it's healing super quick. He's like, I will need more to see me through, but this isn't going to hurt me. This is fine. And he explains to you that he was out with the group doing more shopping, and four of them attacked at once, and they were trained. They got two of the herd dead, stabbed them in the throat. Barrackball himself stepped in, and he managed to wound a couple of them. But the 4-on-1, they wounded him quite badly, and then they took off running. The whole attack happened in 15 seconds.
Okay. I bite my wrist and offer so that he can heal up completely. I'm gonna need you at your full strength tonight.
Okay. He's at full strength. It's just cosmetic.
Okay.
But he does need the one.
Yeah, so I give him the one then.
Yeah, you can see where yeah, he got stabbed through the hand, and he got several cuts on his arms and on his face, and there's a cut on his neck. Where, yeah, he's good, but fending off four trained knifemen at the same time, he got hurt.
Did you see at least where they went?
No. Once again, we were out getting some fruits and vegetables. I had followed out the main group. They had sent him out with two of the older ones and three of the younger ones. The wooden slats worked as designed. They turned to strike at the first one, who was a lady, and three more of them came out of the alley and fell on the two older women. As they were occupied with the girl, the three boys, there were three men, came up, grabbed them from behind, and cut him and stabbed him in the neck several times. Just as fast. Whack, whack, whack! Just that fast. I shouted and came after them. They all dropped. I took a couple of swings at the first ones. They ducked and I missed, and then the next thing I knew, I had four knives in me. And then they took off running as I was recovering from the pain.
Okay. Let's go find Albina then.
And he said all that in Phoenician. He is upset. He's upset that he only got one strike off before he was hurt bad. That he didn't at least cut a bitch.
So we go to the Cold Haven, the Grove Haven then. As I enter, I look for Albina.
Yep. Albina, you have woken up to the sound of great wailing and crying.
She follows the sounds.
They have taken the two dead bodies have been laid out. The others are in mourning, singing mourning songs and crying over the bodies.
She approaches one of the bodies, caresses the face, closes the eye, proceeds to do the same with the other. A feeling of a feeling of annoyance, frustration rising within her as she finds her two little money bags, her two little blood bags, denied her. Being the, I assume this means that it has all been for naught. I told the Stardust that it was not worth that playing with silk, using silk gloves is not worth it. And now look at what happened.
But it the armor actually worked. So our plan was that of where we went wrong. We didn't calculate that there would be more lying and waiting. Fireball told me when the initial two failed, more jumped out of an alleyway. How many children did escape that night? So right now we're not. I have a feeling we're not only dealing with those escaped children. There might be more of them. And
I,
then
be-
the problem has got really big at the moment.
I believe in total there are around 10, yes?
There were four.
Oh, 4.
And the Eric Ahamani and Barkbal told me they were total involved in the attack. There were those two that attacked, and how many jumped from the alleyway?
There was one initial attacker and then three, so four total. Three guys and a girl.
The out of character is Labiana back from.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah,
Out of character, when Alvin and me were talking about when my sister just got killed, I believe she mentioned that she tracked people with her shadow magic.
Perhaps.
Not so much track, but spy. Send have look through the shadows, so to say. Send spies.
Okay, so in that case, I remind her of that conversation in Phoenician, and I ask her if that is something that she can do to find the location of these children, because they have heard Barkbal. So now it's getting personal for me also.
I can try. Give me a moment to prepare the rituals.
like it's time to end this.
I'll be using
Which one?
the one that allows to summon the eye stuff. Let me look for the name.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta
Eyes of the Abyss.
say, yeah, it should be on your character sheet, I think. I think we did.
It is.
Alright.
Yes.
Okay. You descend into your ritual chamber. You make the preparations. You wash yourself off. You change your clothes. You get yourself in the right headspace to perform the ritual. You enter your ritual chamber, close it behind you to seal off all the light.
Prepares a candle
Okay?
to have it to crush the candle in her hand. Crushing is nothing of the light.
Alright. So make a courage roll, difficulty 4.
Can I go ahead to the intelligence and the cultural?
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. I just realized I was on mute. Yes. Um,
Whoops.
make your intelligence cult roll, and just remember that this thing cannot be out in sunlight because is destroyed instantly.
Yes.
While she is doing that,
So Albina, you wrap your hand around the flame, you feel the pain, and in the pain, there's a deeper, darker, colder presence that seems to eat it, to consume it, out of your fist, and you still have the burn and the hurt, but now in the palm of your hand, there's a tiny, dark, coiled thing that writhes and moves, a shadow elemental.
She brings her open palm in front of her face, close enough so that her lips are nearly touching it, and she speaks that barely above a whisper. Uh, my creature, my tender of the abyss, my herd is hunted and harmed. I want to see the ones responsible found. She's going to give the location of the latest attack. Urchins.
Before you do that, I want you to make a wits plus survival roll. Wits plus survival.
Can I use a willpower on this?
Yes, you can.
I'm going to be doing so.
With 4 successes, which is amazing, you realize there's only 2 ways they know where your people are. They know your patterns, or they're following them,
Or they have some insider.
or that. That being said, they either have to be if they have an insider, they got to be talking with the insider,
Yes.
or if they know the shopping pattern. I shop for food this day at this place. I shop for clothing this day at this place. I shop for fruits and vegetables this day at this place. They could be lying in wait.
So the next time that they would be going out, the next routine shopping trip, so to say, I could have my tender of the abyss scout out the locations around that place, the places that they'll be likely to lie in ambush.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, I'm going to give him the command to, on the next location, to scout it out, to find the places that likely make for good ambush spots.
They're headed out to get wine in a couple of days to replenish the wine supply. So that's where he's going to be headed, to that forum.
when Albina comes back, she will see Astartes kneeled between the two bodies, and he will look at her and tell her, "Our deal is fight."
Or
So
do is what?
our deal that we struck for the training, the trivial boon that you owed me, forget about it. It's fight. It has been paid with these two debts. I will do my utmost to help you solve this case and bring the culprits to justice.
As she sees us start kneeling by the bodies, her eyes go wide for a moment as she realizes, oh yes, we have a few bodies here to take care of. Have forgotten about them. She
Astartes, have have Barrack Ball roll his intelligence plus alertness to be able to give a good description of the attackers. All right. So now, sorry about that, but dealing with the bodies.
Yes, I had forgotten about them. She looks over to Laviana. Sister Laviana, would you be so kind as to prepare uh, the disposal?
I'll start preparations right away.
Uh,
That shall immediately turn and
I want to try something. I don't know if I can do it. I want to use Spirit Touch on the barrack bottle. See if I can see what happened. Is that something I can do?
Yeah, you get on his scars, touch his wounds. Yeah, diff
What's
5. The only thing that Barrack Ball is able to explain that you didn't already know, and that when you touch his wounds, you see the same thing. The eyes of the female. He didn't get a look at her face. He didn't get a good description, but her eyes. Her eyes burn with fiery passion. They are. Her spirit could almost be on fire with anger and energy. And when you describe this, Labiana and Albina, you guys remember that she was the ringleader, and you remember how fierce she argued and how hard she struggled and how much she tried, even as a little kid, fighting against the world. And she has lost none of that as an adult. It's only gotten stronger.
I think we probably brought that out a little more in her. Or a lot more, rather. Yep, that
Despite
sounds
a
like
little
her.
Despite a little bit, is going to be learning a thing or two about fire once she's caught.
You hear Astatus muttering under his breath with an angry face, care about mortals, care about mortals, care about mortals, care about mortals, because he really wants to strangle her to death at the moment.
You arrange the funerals and the funerary rites over the next couple of days. And eventually, the time comes that the shopping trip is drawing nigh. Roll your creature stats to essentially its perception alertness for me to scout the area.
One moment, trying to locate them in the book.
Yeah, that's why I asked you to do it.
Do we remember where they used to live?
Yeah, you guys actually did search that, and they had disappeared.
Yeah, we found several possible locations, but we did not actually found them.
I almost wish my character was a Tremere and I had that, what's it called? Illuminate the trail of prey.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be perfect.
Perhaps we should ask the werewolves for help. I hear they have something similar.
You really want to go talking to werewolves right now?
I mean, we don't seem to have any trouble finding where they are.
I believe
Well, usually
they
they're the
should
ones
have
that
been
find
trouble
where
find
we
out.
are.
Okay, so it's alertness and perception, yes?
Yeah, whatever those equivalent stats are going to be for the creature.
Yes, 6.
Ugh. 6 dice, you said?
Yes, rolling.
As it's just waiting on the. There it goes. Okay, yeah. So, um, on its final night, it's out scouting, and it returns and says that with only one success, it can't be sure, um, but it did see several women hanging out in the wine area. Several women that match the description you guys gave it. Small breasts, hair color, curly dark hair.
Say, Laviana, that little kid must really hate you, yes?
Oh, it would seem.
What would you say about being the bait?
Well, if I think that strategy is sound, we've been trying to find them, but I think it's time to play it in reverse and bring them to us. Yeah, bring them to us.
Yeah. Mm, so, you go buy the wine at night. Have them think that we started doing this ourselves to prevent them from attacking our followers. And when they move on to you, I will be in the shadows, having kept an eye on the human that my Tendru has spotted. And when they attack, we fall into them.
Now, on this side, this is pre-dawn. You've got like an hour to half an hour before sunrise.
How
This is a
far away?
very risky move.
Um, Alvina,
Yes?
did you weigh the risk against your revenge?
What do you mean?
It's close to dawn.
What other
Wouldn't be
option?
exact.
What other option do we have at this point? Either we send out their girls to do their duties and accept that they are going to die, or we take action.
Out of character, can we go there and make it back in one piece? Can we just abduct one person and come back with one of them?
Um, if there were no delays, you could make it there and back with a couple of minutes to spare. If there's any delays and you guys cannot go straight there and straight back, you're not going to make it back in time.
Okay.
So you've literally only got a few minutes of leeway here.
Are there other safe havens nearby? The havens or the domains of other people that we know and we are in relatively friendly relationship with?
Yeah, or anywhere we can just duck into for shelter for the day if we need to.
What's the equivalent of sewer grates in Rome at this moment?
Not great. There is one huge sewer, and there's a bunch of smaller ones that are maybe the size of a football. As
So
they
there's
as they pump water from the aqueducts that flush through the public urinals, basically, and things like that.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can abduct one of them. But if I die, I'm coming back to hunt you guys.
Astartes, roll your intelligence plus politics. Or legerdemain. I'll let you do legerdemain at diff 5. Politics is 6.
I do not have legitimate, so it's gonna be politics then. What do you say? What's the attribute again?
Intelligence.
Intelligence.
Yeah. You're trying to remember something.
I'm actually really wishing I had level 5 corpse in the monster at the moment.
That would be amazing for this. Yeah, Astartes, you happen to know a Ventrue who's got some property and investments in that area. A
Um,
Ventrue named Valoranius.
and you hear him making that sound. There's somebody we know in that area. Valeronius.
Lovely.
Wait, out of character, do we still have that enemy rating with him?
Yes, but you also have boons on him.
Yes.
True.
So, I believe it's time for us to collect our boon.
I think so. And this would be worth it.
Okay. Let's go.
So you're gonna send a runner to his buildings to make sure that it's prepared for you in return for the boons.
Yeah, I put it in writing and I sent Bark Ball with it.
Right. The offer made is that you guys are all calling in all the boons that you have on him in return for shelter today.
Yes.
He will
Shelter
he,
and
he
safekeeping of a prisoner.
he accepts that. He is very happy with that.
Okay, guys, let's get going. I walk ahead in front of the group with my obfuscate 2, see if we can spot them. And I'm going primarily for the girl, the leader. I want her. If I cannot get her, I'm gonna go for somebody else. Because what my plan is to abduct one of them and make them come to us. If we can make it. Otherwise, we're gonna catch all of them if we can. What do you guys think?
Our main focus should be the girl.
Yes, she's the leader.
So,
Even
okay. So I'm gonna grab her, use
Okay.
obfuscate 2 and 1, and we're
You
gonna,
guys are discussing this as you go.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna book it to Valeronius' estate.
All right.
While that is happening, I'm gonna increase both my strength. I'm gonna increase my strength, my dexterity, and my stamina.
As a backup, if we can't get her, and we can take one of the boys, we could do that too and use them as a bargaining chip.
Yep. I'm gonna start by using the first dot of my elemental bat. I cannot find it. Where is it? Here it is. Strength of the earth.
That's a good one. The lessens how much blood you have to pay out.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Upon doing this, I think Labian is I think this is almost by habit now. Alga Mortis.
Okay. Yeah, I trust you guys are going to spend your blood, roll your disciplines as needed, and so on. So you guys head into the wine forum, and you begin looking around the vicinity where you thought it was. Everybody scouting, make perception plus alertness rolls, please.
Can I still scout as bait?
Yeah, if you're going to be bait, then you're not. I don't want you to make a perception alertness roll. I'd like you to make a charisma plus performance roll. Draw attention to yourself.
Charisma performance. Data diff?
Yeah, diff 6. Come on, roll 20, catch up.
Huh.
No successes. So you kind of wander out. It's just da 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 da. Astartes, as you're scouting, you see a very suspicious looking man. You do see several women, but you definitely see a suspicious looking guy. He's muscled. He's leaning in a corner. He's got a couple of knives on him. Most importantly, he has a wooden stake at the back of his, on the small of his back. That's what really drew your attention. He's got a sharpened piece of wood with him.
Okay, out of character. I want to try to entrance him and abduct him. Will that be possible? When I grab him, will that break the entrancement?
To entrance him, you do have to break your obfuscate.
Yeah, I'm gonna sneak up behind him, tap him on the shoulder, and when he turns, I'm gonna entrance him.
Okay. Make your entrancement roll. That's a lot of successes. He is certainly entranced.
Then I'm gonna
By the
down
way.
All right.
on with me, my friend.
As he turns around and looks at you, and you release your wave of vampire magic, and he goes, "Wow!"
And I
And he
use
stares at you. Not quite.
One.
Not quite. His buddy sees what's happening and attacks you. He is striking at you from behind. He's going for a stake shot, and he hits you right in the heart.
I have my magic bubble with me.
How much do you have left on your amulet? I don't think you have too much left on that. But he does hit you in the heart with 3 successes at diff 9.
I have two.
He's got a specialty on he's got a 10 and a 9, so all right, so he's rolling his strength, which is 4, his stake damage, which is 2, plus 3 for the heart shot, plus 1 extra. And then, of course, you're going to soak that with armor, fortitude, stamina, and it's going to automatically reduce by any of your amulet, whatever's left on that.
I have 2 on it right now.
Okay, so it's going to, whatever he rolls here, we subtract 2 off the top. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Not bad. Subtract 2, you got to soak 2. And you soaked 0.
Yes.
The good news for you is that he stakes you. Whack! And you feel it. Straight through. And you immediately begin to fall over. And the man you just entranced is like, no! No! My friend! Oh God! And he like grabs you and he's screaming and drawing attention to what just happened. So he grabs you and cradles you on the way down, screaming and yelling. No roll needed. Everybody turns to look at what the fuck. Everybody turns to look. They're all staring. Albino, what are you doing?
Oh,
Upon taking notice of this,
You're in shadow form, correct?
yes,
Okay.
she's going to start slithering over to this commotion.
All right. So you move at a slow walking pace. So you begin slowly moving your way across the alley.
How many people are around, by the way? How much of a crowd there is?
Good question.
also, how far away is Labiena at the moment?
There's 8 people around, and I don't know, how far away do you want to be? You were trying to draw attention to yourself, so I assume you're somewhat close, within 20 or 30 feet of it. Kind of like making a ruckus and looking around and generally being visible.
I was just wondering how quickly she'd be able to just get over there and try and rip the stake out of Astartes' chest.
Well, we are in combat
fell
rounds, and it'd be
asleep.
2 rounds,
Okay.
including this one. If you immediately begin running over, in fact, if you used to use a D&D term, if you use a dash action, so you use your movement and an action to get over there, you can make it in 1. You just wouldn't be able to pull it out yet.
Okay. But yeah, I'll start doing that.
All right, you sprint over. Cloak flying out behind you. You see the one guy getting ready to grab his buddy and be like, "Hey man, what's wrong with you? What the heck's going on here?" And the other mortal is holding Astartes and like crying already, getting ready to cry. My friend, oh my God, what did you just do to my friend here? You immediately recognize the effects of entrancement. While you're running over, somebody steps out from behind, lines up a shot. There you are, you fucking bitch. And shoots you with a crossbow.
DPK?
It hits, but not in the heart. Labiena, you feel a crossbow bolt slams you right in the middle of your back, but not in the heart. Just... It has armor piercing of 2, so if you're wearing armor, it ignores 2 points of it.
Yeah, well, she'll, despite the heat, she'll have her usual cloak on.
Yep.
Upon feeling that, she'll just immediately know what's happened, just stand stocks, like stop moving, pretty much grind to a halt.
It actually hits you, but it like bounces off your rib and sort of, it just like hits your rib and sort of flops in your clothing. And then it just falls out and on the ground. So it's like, just like kind of like grazes you and flies off. And you hear a fuck!
She's just gonna slowly turn around and stare at her.
And then the last guy comes out, sees Astartes, sees you, doesn't see the shadow because he's not that good. Pulls up the crossbow, lines up a shot, and this is and fires off his. He also hits you straight in the chest, but not in the heart, just off to one side. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one hurts a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Soak 6 lethal, and it ignores 2 points of your armor. This one takes you square in the chest. And it actually, once you soak, I'm gonna need you to make a strength roll to stay on your feet. So you take 2 lethal. Now roll your flat strength.
Second. Where does that put me?
Why did you
Yeah,
roll
despite
1,
how-
2? Oh, you boosted your stamina, didn't you?
Oh, was that still from last turn?
Mm-hmm.
It was. But I presume she would have done something similar, knowing what she was about to get herself into.
Yeah, that's fine. Just mark the blood off. You did have time to prepare,
Yeah.
so.
That was, what, 4 blood, because I've increased my stamina as well. Alright, and... puts me at her, right? Guess that one. Alright, and...
What's your strength plus potence plus whatever your blood boost is? So you get to roll that.
Alright, well, I might just... So, strength... Potence, I think I've only got 1, and I think a blood boost of 2. So that'd be 6 dice, I think.
Okay.
6. Am I counting?
I don't know.
Yeah.
What's your potence?
1. So that's what I said. Strength 3, potence 1, and blood boost of 2.
Yeah, that's 6.
That's 6. Now I should be doing it right. Always a standard diff for this, isn't it?
Yep, always 6. You can, of course, spend a blood to have auto successes on your potence if you wanted.
Say again?
You can spend a blood to make your potence automatically succeed.
I think in this situation, given it is a 4-on-1 essentially, but despite the fact that they're human, but the humans with stakes, so the stakes, pun intended, kind of went up a bit. I might just do that.
All right, then you don't need to roll your strength because with 3 automatic successes, you stagger a step, and you look down at the bolt sticking out of your chest, and then you look back up, and you see the 2 of them throw their crossbows away because it's not worth reloading and draw out wooden stakes of their own. And you look dead smack in the eyes of the girl, and she does the thumb across the throat. You're fucking dead, bitch. All right, back to the top. The 2 guys on Astartes are now arguing with each other as the guy's like, "Get off of him!" The guy he entranced is going, "Get off of him! I can't believe you did that to him!" And his buddy's going, "What's wrong with you, man? What the fuck? Come on, we gotta go!" And is like trying to drag him off, and they're fighting each other basically. That's their action. That's what they're doing. Albeda, as you drift a little bit across the road at a time, we're gonna say it's gonna take you this round and 1 more to reach Astartes.
As she approaches, she's going to go from shadow form into the normal form.
Okay, just like that.
Away.
And I assume you did it instantly so that you could instantly shift back when you wanted to. So you drift, and boom, there you are. Just poof, you popped out in the middle of the street. And people are staring like, what the hell? There's like screams of, "Oh my god! What the? Oh, Black Witchery!" Ah! They're like, people are starting to panic a little bit.
I mean, if possible, do that before she goes in the middle, while she's in the alleyway.
Oh, sure. But I mean, people are still freaked out about the crossbows and the weapons, and
Yes. But not. She's not trying to break the silence of blood.
yeah. Well, Labiana just did, but yeah. Anyways,
It might come off that she's wearing armor.
Yeah, it's sticking halfway out of her chest. Yeah. In any case,
She's drugged. It is the opium.
PCP, man. It's PCP. Yeah, so you step out and you look, and you can be across the street in this round and at a Stardust.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
you
that's,
take off across. You just brush past Labiana as you do, and you are at a Stardust and ready to act next round. So you're kind of like, and you're standing over these two arguing guys, and the one dude is trying to pull his buddy off, looks up at you like, "Fuck." Labiana, you're up.
well, there weren't so many onlookers around. I think the only thing she can think about right now is, well, she would definitely consider getting out one of her vials of that hungry mold. Just
Okay.
throw it in her face.
Okay. Yeah, you reach in, you grab a clay pot, eat this, whew, and you throw it. Dex Athletics.
I don't think she's too worried about taking them prisoner at the moment. She's caused her enough grief. They need to die. Hang on. Where am I? Yeah. Dex Athletics. Oof.
Ooh. She just kind of like ducks her head instinctively, and it passes by her, and it smashes against the wall, and you can see it spread out, and whatever was on the wall is now eaten.
Where were you when I needed you, Dice?
Yep. The two of them rush at you, and she's acting first. Dex melee. And she hits you in the heart with two successes because it's a 10.
I've had enough bad luck this weekend.
She's only got a strength of 3, unfortunately,
Halloween 5 all over again.
and no potence. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One, two, three. Soak 4 lethal damage to the heart.
Fuck's sake.
That sucks. You are staked.
Oh god.
Albina, suffocate her, will you? Please? All of them? All 4?
He sees the last one sees you going down, looks up at Albina, and just charges. He's gonna suffer a dice penalty to this because he's a little bit far away. And he hits you, but he misses your heart because his dice roll went up in difficulty, so he misses your heart. But he does stab you. Unfortunately, you don't have your shadow armor on. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Soak 2 lethal to the chest. All right, so you take 1, and he's like screaming, trying to stab you with a stake, and he misses your heart. The new round comes up. The dude sees one of his friends is now attacking Albina. His buddy's inconsolable over Astartes. He's like, screw it. Draws out his knife and begins to attack Albina as well. So he's now got a flanking bonus. One, two, three, four. Hits you with 4 successes. Albina, you want to dodge it or you want to just take it?
I'm going to be taking it.
Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
If we're getting taken down by a bunch of humans, I'm gonna scream.
We are
What
creating,
like elders getting taken down by humans?
creating the OG vampire hunters.
If only Astartes had used the deflection of wooden doom ritual.
Right? On all of them.
I did not have it.
If Roll20 will ever... There it goes. Now it pops up. 1, 2... That's 3 lethal.
I'm just going to use my fortitude to also soak it.
Alright. It just... just kind of like bounces off of your hardened skin. Yeah, Labienna's down.
That is down.
Astartes is down. She looks up at Albina, sees 2 guys on top of her. Looks down at Labienna. Looks around. Runs over and grabs an oil lamp. Next action, she's going to throw it on Labienna.
Suffocate her! Suffocate her!
Unstake me! Let me go beast on this pig.
Albina, you're up.
That's what Labienna was trying to do.
Alvina is going to proceed to use would she be able to use dominate on the guys that are attacking her?
On one of them, sure.
Yeah, she's going to be using on the guy with the stake. Trying to command him to unstake Astartes.
Okay. This is in combat. And he is incredibly hostile to you. So, 4 of us, so we're going to say base diff 7, account for your bonuses.
Motherfucker! I cannot fucking believe that. That's a failure.
I'm gonna die. Can't believe I'm gonna die to a human.
We've survived werewolves.
That is the way I did not want Labienna to go. She's not even gonna make the Feast of Folly.
I am going to Deus Ex Machina this just a little bit because I think it's funnier and it keeps you guys alive. As you are dealing with this, a fat old man steps out from a building.
I wish I could die.
Mm-hmm. And issues a dominate command. To one of the... He issues a dominate command. Stop! To the chick to the chick. And it does fucking nothing. And she looks at him and she gives him the finger. She does the Roman version of flipping him off. Grabs the oil lamp. One of his guys, several of his men come running out of various hidey holes and begin to tackle the humans and begin stabbing them to death.
I was gonna say, just kill them already.
Yep,
I'm
just
over it.
stabbing them to death. Then they grab you guys and begin dragging you out of there. They don't even unstake you. They just pick you up and begin dragging you away.
We're so fucked.
I'm pissed.
I wish I had necromancers so I can torture that girl's soul.
I am too amused to be angry at this. This is great.
So, I assume, Albina, you follow them?
Yes,
Yes.
definitely.
They take you to a safe haven. And pretty much right then, as they get there and close the door, everyone collapses. You wake up the next evening. You see Valerianus, some his own ghouls have come in and picked him up and arranged him in a dignified fashion as much as you can for that freaking fat ass. And he gets up and he's like, "Let's talk." And with a big shark-like grin on his face, because he just saved your lives.
We owe him a life wound.
Right.
I mean, technically, he only truly saved Labiena's life.
And Astartes.
Yes.
I think Labiena's first thought when she finally awakens. I'm never dealing with humans again. They're too much trouble.
And I wake up looking for Erroneous. I just lie back down and close my eyes. I do not want to be here right now. Just want to die.
You don't even have to see it. You can sense the mafia loan shark grin on his face.
Valerianus, what a pleasure to see you again. There is no attempt to make her sound honest when she says that.
He just... I'm glad I decided to trust my instincts.
Oh, please. By this point, knowing that something's going to go wrong to Konofa plans is not instinct, it's just common sense.
Well, in any case, as agreed, shelter for last night, or for the last day, has already been accounted for by boons. Now we need only talk about how I have had to clean up your mess.
I believe a major boon from each one of us would suffice for this, yes?
No, I think not. I think you, Albina, I believe a major boon is fair, that I have taken care of your human problem, and your own herd is safe. But I have had to sacrifice several of my men to do so. They will have to take the fall for the violence. So, a major boon and 4 minor boons will sufficiently compensate me for your portion of last night's activities.
Acceptable, yes.
Labiana? Startus? Your debt is somewhat more acute. Let us not be coy. You owe me your lives.
That is not in question.
Astartes?
I'm not gonna dispute that.
Good.
Sadly, we cannot.
Then I do not feel the need that to argue over it. I shall wish you a pleasant evening. And good luck at your party.
Sh- Albina nods proceeds to make her way to a nearby door.
Nobody stops you.
Yeah, Labiana just leaves silently.
You're all free to go.
I also leave silently.
There's a number of henchmen, basically, there, loading and unloading wine. You actually found yourselves in a warehouse, a nearby warehouse. Yes, you all leave. Nobody stops you. Several people nod at you. You recognize a couple of quick glimpses of the faces from last night. And you exit.
That was unpleasant.
Most unpleasant. I wish I'd gotten my hands around her neck myself. Sadly, that was not to be.
And on top of that, we own that scumbag alive. Well,
It's not all bad. He has an
How
investment.
so?
He has an investment on the two of us, on the two of you.
Yes,
you owe
but we
him.
owe him. How
Our
is that good?
lives.
She'll go. She'll make sure to make sure that neither of you find yourself dying or becoming unable to repay him.
Do you realize he can ask us to do almost anything and we cannot refuse?
Not
Yes,
almost anything. Anything.
He can even ask us to kill you.
And we
Yeah.
cannot refuse.
Do you realize that?
yes. But the fact that he can ask for something and that you can do something in his name does not mean that you need to succeed.
If
Furthermore,
we if we do not do it, our life is forfeit. So either we kill you or we die by your hands, or we're gonna die by the hands of the elders. That's the only way it could end in that scenario.
We can only hope that anything he asks us is, well. In any case, I'd rather not dwell on it anymore this night. I don't know about the rest of you, but perhaps we should focus on the securing
the party, yes.
for festivities.
We still need the actors and the animal tamer.
But we cannot have any more money.
We do not have any money on hand. But that does not mean that we cannot make promises. That does not mean that we cannot find other ways of payment.
I sure hope you guys not gonna whore me out. He starts laughing.
And on that note, let's end the session. Let's end on a laugh. That's a good one.
Worst ever.
I mean, it worked for the fighter, so
Oh my god.
I
I'm so embarrassed in my life.
I was honestly hoping that the hungry mole was going to hit her right in the face.
Me too.
nothing.
In inverted commas, luck of the dice. I
Yeah,
feel the
and
dice
I mean,
can
obviously,
go to hell tonight.
I didn't even do the thing where sometimes where I'll say, well, he missed your heart but did this. I said he was aiming for your heart and he either hit it or he missed. You know, there was one or the other. Yeah, it's just rolled enough damage on these stake shots and crappy soak rolls.
I am amazed at how the dominates at the end failed.
And do you know what I wanted to do at the start of this session? Refresh my rituals. If I had to refresh my ritual, I would have had 4 dice to soak with my amulet.
Well, we can definitely make a note and do that next session, which is next week.
I mean, Algamortis didn't even help me.
All in all, it was a fun session.
Debatable.
I'm so sorry about that. It's
Oh, I blame
No.
the dice.
Not be sorry about it. It was great. It was one of the most amazing sessions I think we had.
Yeah. And from a storyline perspective, it's going to get very interesting soon.
I'm glad everyone else had fun.
Well, I hope it started out pretty good. I know it ended on a kind of crappy note, and I do apologize for that. But in any case, everybody gets 1 experience point for tonight, and hopefully tomorrow next game, we will be all the way through the party, and we'll get through all that, and then. Unless anybody has anything else they want to do in the time skip before about 40 or 50 AD, we're going to skip all the way to there.
Out of character, did anybody else realize something different about my aura when they use Auspex?
Nobody even looked at it.
Okay. Okay. Well, guys.
All right. Good night, everybody. Appreciate your time.
Good night.
Alright.
Bye.
Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us. I don't like ending a session where somebody says they didn't have a great time, but unfortunately, the dice kind of dictated that one. I do hope you guys keep listening and hope you enjoyed it, and I want you guys all to have a great evening.